Pharaoh's right about the shoe. The shoe was not the same in the picture shown in court as the shoe pulled from the evidence bag by Trooper Bukake.
And you mentioned you're at the hospital. There was a sneaker. One.
Yes.
Bukake! Bukake!
Woo! Good morning, my friends, fellow reprobates. I hope everyone is doing well. Yes. Happy Saturday, my friends. Happy Saturday. Listen, lots going on this week. We're going to discuss these going-ons. What? Okay. I disagree. Anyway, it's great to see you guys. Yeah, lots been going on. Our boy Turtle Boy got some new charges from this New Jersey person. We're going to talk about that. The big talk around the community besides that, of course, is the Gretchen Voss article in Boston Magazine. And I got to tell you, the Cerebral Ninja, David Unetti, was having some fun yesterday. We're going to go over some of that stuff too. But we're going to read that article because I have not actually read the article in its entirety yet. I've read little bits and pieces that have been posted on X, and so we're gonna read the whole article now. And I stand by my tweet because what was posted was enough for me to form the opinion that yes, Gretchen Voss is an aged out hooker. That is absolutely my opinion of Gretchen Voss, and we're gonna read why. So now, yeah, I mean, let's just go ahead and get into that. Um, and you guys aren't third graders. You don't need to like read along. Um, so let me go ahead and read this. For 3 years, the witnesses in the Karen Reed murder trial were harassed at their job. Wow, she just goes right into the bullshit. It's titled "Inside the Campaign That Acquitted Karen Reed." Now, if I don't see these, I apologize. Let me go ahead and cover this real quick. So, first of all, Christine just gifted 5 memberships, people. So, thank you so much, Christine, for that. And oh my God.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
How dare you?
Dina, my favorite, at the church by the courthouse, they had a farmer's market every Wednesday. The church had the bouncy house and lobster truck, not the movement. Gretchen Voss sucks. Okay, I hadn't gotten there yet, but thank you for clearing that up now, so we know that when I get to that point in the article. Thank you for the spoiler, Dina. No, I totally get it, and I agree with you. Yeah, the church was actually very nice to all of the supporters, and to the Karen Reed camp as well. It's where everyone had lunch during the lunch breaks during the trial. Hey, knock it off. Thank you. So let me go ahead and get back into this. So inside the campaign, and I'm sorry if I don't hear, and listen, the gifts, like the trophies and the goat stuff, and that's new. And I wasn't sure how to handle that and deal with it. And now StreamYard highlights them every single time. So I have the option to highlight them on the screen now. I'm just going to let you guys know I am really, really grateful for them. Don't get me wrong. I think that it's really nice that you guys send those, and it's cool. But I'm not going to highlight them because the thing is when you do send them, a big old little graphic dances around and shit in the chat, and I feel like that's sufficient. I don't think I need to highlight them every time. So it's one thing, you know. I'm happy to interrupt the show for super chats and memberships, obviously, because this is, you guys are amazing doing that. And I realize that it annoys some people that I stop the show for those things. Turtle Boy. But still, nevertheless, I am happy to show my gratitude. I feel I have to show my gratitude for you guys when I do that. I love showing my gratitude for you guys. But the little ones, you know, they kind of show themselves off, you know. Those little guys that dance around in the chat, they show themselves off, so I'm not going to highlight those, okay? But I will still be interrupting the show with irritating super chat dance songs and applause for gifted memberships. Like this one, Just Win. Thank you for gifting 10 memberships. So, moving on. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. And yes, listen. There is lots of petty to be had. Lots of petty to come. So if you're not members, okay, become a member. I'm telling you, it's like $3.99 a month, okay, a month. And the fountain of petty content that is now available and that is in the works, okay? You're not going to want to miss out. So, I mean, you probably spend more on your coffee every morning. And this gets you a month of petty content. And then whatever else I can think of to replace the Clubber walks because, you know, my internet cuts out. Terry Sue, member for 10 months. Thank you so much. Free Turtle Boy indeed. Navy, see, I just highlighted. Thank you for the GOAT trophy. The Goodmans, we love the Goodmans. Gifted a membership. Thank And I know Jolene, man. Jolene went live for like 7 hours. I woke up this morning and I saw all of you fucking crackhead motherfuckers in Jolene's chat. And I say that because there was like 1,000 people. I woke up, it was 6 a.m. I woke up feeling good about myself. I went to bed early, woke up early, and I'm like, holy shit, you bunch of motherfucking crackheads. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Y'all need an intervention. No, but I totally, I get it. I get it. The mucho stuff is wild. The mucho stuff is wild. I get it. All right, so let's get back into this article. Now, while I have the article up, if I miss any super chats or memberships, I apologize. Because I've got another screen pulled up. Thank you so much, Petty. Petty Betty, welcome to Reprobates. We love you. Oh, yeah. Babe, we know. All right. For 3 years, the witnesses in the Karen Reed murder trial were harassed at their jobs, their homes, their children's sports games. It wasn't random. It wasn't a movement of true believers. It was a coordinated campaign against them, and now they're fighting back. Right there, it's just that whole fucking first paragraph, that whole introduction is a fucking lie. Jennifer McCabe spotted him across. Look at. I mean, the dramatics. Jennifer McCabe spotted him across the bleachers at her daughter's lacrosse game. Aiden Carney, the blogger who goes by the name of Turtle Boy, arrived in a mask and then pulled it off. He wasn't hiding. He shoved his phone, the video rolling onto her face. Hey, Jen, are you worried about what's going to happen to your family when you go to jail? She looked straight ahead and under her baseball cap, trying to ignore him, trying to disappear as other parents gawked. Jen, did you think you could outsmart Karen Reed? Yes or no? School officials eventually moved in and escorted Carney from the stadium in Billerica? Looks like America, but Billerica. Okay. But he didn't go quietly. Cop killers! That's what they are! Cop killers! He hollered as they walked him out. The cop he was referring to was John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer found dead in the snow in Canton in the morning of January 29th, 2022. He had last been seen alive earlier that night after drinking at 2 local bars when he got into Reed's Lexus SUV with her during a nor'easter. I don't even know what word that is. I probably said that and sounded stupid. That's okay. I do that all the time. After Reed was indicted for manslaughter and then second-degree murder in 2022, she maintained her innocence, claiming that the people inside the house where she dropped O'Keefe off, Brian Albert, his nephew Colin, and O'Keefe's close friend McCabe, were the ones responsible for his death. She argued that they were able to cover it up thanks to a conspiracy involving dozens of people, including officials from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, the Massachusetts State Police, Canton Police, first responders, and expert witnesses. Carney was the first to report this alternative theory, raising questions about what had, until then, been seen as an open and shut case, at least on the manslaughter charge. Sorry about that. Carney's coverage, he had published more than 550 blog posts in his Canton cover-up series, along with thousands of tweets and hundreds of live streams, spawned a free Karen Reed movement that spread across Massachusetts and beyond. Fueled by a quasi-religious fervor, the movement cast the witnesses as villains and public enemies, accusing them of framing an innocent woman to evade justice. Well, yeah. None of the witnesses were ever charged with a crime. Yeah, we know. But the rage unleashed against them irrevocably altered their lives. Ever since the first post, and even today, McCabe says she receives frequent phone calls, voices on the line calling her evil bitch and worse, and Facebook messages accusing her of being a murderer. People drive by her house, take pictures, and send them to her and let her know they are watching. One time, someone edited a photograph of McCabe's daughter and added the caption, "Property of Turtle Boy," as well as digitally generated semen on her face and a leg. Now, I want you guys to know, I don't condone this behavior. I don't. I'm not just saying that as a disclaimer. I genuinely do not fucking condone that fucking behavior. But the fact of the matter is that I'm a fucking child, okay? I'm a fucking grown-ass man child. And when I hear shit like that, it fucking makes me laugh. So go fuck yourselves for giving me shit for it, because that shit is fucking funny. I don't care what you say. That shit is fucking funny. Listen, Bob, all right? This isn't like some all-nighter, you know, and then like spilling over into the morning, okay? That's Jolene, okay? Talk to the crackheads in the chat who did that shit, okay? This is a dude who went to sleep at a nice early hour on a Friday night like a good old man, and then woke up and then decided to fucking go live and do a morning stream. That's what happened. Okay, Bab. Listen. I got to read that again. Okay? I have to find my place, though. Okay, here we go. None of the witnesses were ever charged with a crime, but the rage unleashed against them irrevocably altered their lives. Ever since that first post, and even today, McCabe says she receives frequent phone calls, voices on the line calling her an evil bitch and worse, and Facebook messages accusing her of being a murderer. People drive by her house, take pictures, and send them to her and let her know that they are watching. One time, someone edited a photograph of McCabe's daughter and added the caption, "Property of Turtle Boy," as well as digitally generated semen on her face and leg, and sent it to her. Now, as I understand it, this picture is not, I don't know because I haven't seen it, but as I understand it, this picture is not exactly what it's described as here. But the way it's described is fucking funny. So I can't help it. McCabe's email and bank accounts have been hacked. People wore t-shirts and hoodies with her picture, which at one point were the hottest selling items in Turtle Boy's website merch store. Similar harassment also played out for the other witnesses. What few people know, though, is that the harassment of witness, she loves, dude, I swear to God, if this was a drinking game and you drank every time you heard the word harassment, Jesus Christ, dude, you wouldn't last through the article. What few people know, though, is that the harassment of the witnesses and anyone who dared to question Reed's defense, including this reporter who has covered the case since its early days, was in fact orchestrated by Reed herself and at times coordinated with her defense team. According to now public text exchanges between Reed and Carney, often through an intermediary, Reed dictated to Carney exactly what he should write and how. Her attorneys leaked confidential information to him, and together they orchestrated the harassment of the witnesses. All the while, Reed's camp publicly denied any contact with Carney. Even the line, "Did you think you could outsmart Karen Reed?" that Carney spat at McCabe as she shrank into herself at that lacrosse game had been dictated by Reed. Now, this is very, very funny because there's a part here that I have to go ahead and highlight, where it says here, "Did you think you could outsmart Karen Reed?" which is painted here to be directed at the witnesses or any of the witnesses. And just want to see if I can see, there's something down here called an update, which you don't normally see on credible articles. You don't really need to update because, well, they have what's usually referred to as a as an investigative professional reporter who understands that you can report you should report facts in order to build credibility. Because, there used to be this thing where you actually built an audience and a fan base by actually being credible as a reporter. It's amazing how that used to be. And B, when you have an editor working for the asswipe that you work for, when you have an editor doing their fucking job at the asswipe that you work for, then these updates don't need to happen. Such as this one right here, where it says the story has been updated to accurately reflect that Aidan Carney's phone extraction became public via his now former girlfriend, 5150. The story has also been updated to remove any ambiguity about the context of a message from defense attorney David Yannetti, the Cerebral Ninja, to Aidan, Dr. Turtleboy, Mr. Media Carney. When Yannetti wrote, "These bastards deserve all the scorn we are giving them," he was referring to the Massachusetts State Police. A version of this story appears in the August 2026 print issue of Boston with the headline, "Read Between the Lines." So, yeah, we're going to be here for a minute, folks, because this is a pretty long article. So, yeah, did you think you could outsmart Karen Reed? I realized that I got mixed up in my thoughts here. Did you think you could outsmart Karen Reed was what Aidan said to Jen McCabe at the lacrosse game in the video. Equally troubling, it seems that Reed's legal team brought their case to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts. A federal inquiry into the handling of the police investigation into O'Keefe's death followed. The federal investigation, which departed from standard investigative practices in ways the legal experts have questioned, resulted in Reed's defense team gaining access to evidence they might not have otherwise obtained, including lead state police investigator Michael Proctor's personal text messages. Fascinating. Equally troubling, it seems that Reed's legal team brought their case to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts. A federal inquiry into the handling of the police investigation into O'Keefe's death followed. Why wouldn't they do that? Because the way this is painting this to be is that Karen Reed and her defense team manipulated the entire situation and involved the U.S. Attorney's Office to try to weaponize them against the House defendants. It's absurd. It's absurd because the results dictate otherwise. The results show that even if she had done that, let's say Karen Reed and her defense team did that, they did exactly what they should have done. Because if they uncovered evidence through their own investigating in order to properly and effectively defend Karen Reed from a corrupt local government, and then they find evidence of said corrupt local government, or at least troubling things that show that there should be looking into, then what are they supposed to do as officers of the court? What are they supposed to do? Clubber, please, can you pick on your brother elsewhere? Thank you. Then Drago jumps on his head. Hey, can you guys fuck off, please? Please? I love you guys, but goddamn it. Yeah, Drago's just like on his fucking head. Like, so where was I? Yeah, why would they not go to the U.S. Attorney's Office with this information? Like, they're painting it out to be like, oh, well, they just did it to fucking like weaponize them against, and what? No. This is a woman who is being falsely accused of a crime. She finds evidence of it because they were lazy and sloppy about it. Specifically, Proctor was lazy and sloppy about it. And so they found probable cause and reason for a judge to say, we need to look into his phones. We need to see what this says. We need to see if this dude was conducting an up-and-up investigation. Welcome, Joni, for becoming a new member. Welcome to Reprobates. All right, so let's keep reading. And this is like low key defending Michael Proctor. You know what I mean? Like, it's low key defending Michael Proctor. The federal investigation, which departed from standard investigative practices in ways that legal experts have questioned, departed from standard investigative practices in ways that legal experts have questioned. Which legal experts are those? The Court TV legal experts? The fucking chick who dances on TikTok videos? Like, are you fucking kidding? Are those the legal experts that you're referring to, Gretchen Voss? They resulted in Reed's defense team gaining access to evidence they might not have otherwise obtained, including lead state police investigator Michael Proctor's personal text messages. So basically, the implication here in that paragraph, in summary, is that they weaponize the U.S. Attorney's Office to find a legal loophole to where they can see evidence and they can use the evidence obtained from the U.S. Attorney's investigation against, at the end of the day, it's fucking evidence. So who cares where it came from? And who cares how they fucking got it? If I'm being totally honest. Like, there's no rule book here. Well, there is a rule book. It's called the law, right? And there's no law as far as I understand it. The law dictates that the burden of proof and the rights by default go to Karen Read, the accused. And the way that I see it on a moral level, since there was Rule 14 violation after the other, one Rule 14 violation after the other, where they just failed to provide discovery, because we're getting discovery that they asked for during the first trial now. That shit's just happening now through FOIAs filed by you guys. Think about that shit. And so, all of that shady shit, why wouldn't they go to the U.S. Attorney's Office? Why wouldn't they find evidence through any means? If the prosecution, if the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is failing to meet their burden of sharing discovery and allowing Karen Read the right to a proper defense, then what's wrong with them? Oh, yeah. What's wrong with them seeking this evidence by whatever means they need? Because at the end of the day, it worked. I mean, I don't give a shit. The fact of the matter is, Josh Levy, Adam Deitch, what those guys did for Sandra Birchmore, that's all I need to know, that everything that they found in this fucking investigation is valid. And that the only reason that this investigation didn't move forward was politics. Literally fucking politics. A regime change happened, and a Biden-appointed U.S. attorney was no longer the U.S. attorney once Trump got in office. That's all that fucking happened. And now Adam Deitch is running for Norfolk County DA. And I wonder why that is. Could it be because during this investigation he found so much wrong? And knowing that they were this close to getting some chance of justice for Boston police officer John O'Keefe, and watching it just slip through his fingers like sand, just because something higher than him and higher than them decided. That's why, if I lived in Norfolk County, I'd be voting for Adam Deitch. That's why. Because the fact of the matter is he's the only one out of all of the candidates for Norfolk County DA, out of all of those candidates, the only one, technically, who has ever gotten any justice for Sandra Birchmore, did anything to get any justice for Sandra Birchmore, and did anything to get any justice for Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Because Greg Conner didn't even have anything to do with that shit. Lally tried that shit. Then he had to get a special prosecutor Put Lally second chair. And by he, I mean Michael Morrissey. Meatball. Thank you, Brass. I appreciate it. NCDAO, Lally and Proctor especially are so shady at Rule 14. Rosemary Scapiccio is getting Lally and Proctor on the stand soon for a hearing. She has hinted at wanting Tully fanning Yuri and ADAs. I love it. I love it. Rosemary Scapiccio is killing it right now. Fucking love it. And let me tell you guys, this Clancy case, right now, as of right now, the only channel that I'm paying attention to on that, I don't know who all's covering it, but I know that Defense Diaries is covering it. I'm telling you right now, as I stated during the fundraiser, I'm saying right now, I'm declaring that the only channel so far at this point right now that I'm paying any attention to about that is Defense Diaries. I only want to hear from LawTubers right now about that case. It is, and women who have struggled with postpartum depression, those are the people who I want to hear from right now. I don't give a shit about anybody else's opinion on this case. It's too much. I find myself in a position where I'm like, I don't know what justice is in this case. I don't know. Maybe it already happened. I don't know. So this case actually cuts deep, but I'll tell you, I'm Team Clancy right now for one reason and one reason only. So far, what really puts me over that is my man Reddington. Reddington's my guy. All right? I fucking love Kevin Reddington. Give a fuck what anybody says. People can get mad all they want. But I love Kevin Reddington, bro. Okay? Reddington's my guy. I've told the Reddington story before, but I'll save it for another time. The federal investigation ultimately went nowhere, but its mere existence lent legitimacy to Carney's accusations, gave much of the public the impression that the witnesses might be perpetrators of the crime, and quite possibly affected the outcome of the trial itself. Meanwhile, instead of protecting witnesses to a crime, the feds left them hanging out to dry as the harassment fueled by public knowledge of the federal investigation itself continued to upend their lives. The feds left them hanging out to dry, according to Gretchen Voss. Of course, I guess she just doesn't know how things work. Now, a little over a year after Reed was acquitted of killing O'Keefe, the witnesses, who continue to suffer harassment, are taking matters into their own hands. They have secured legal representation from famed Sandy Hook lawyer Chris Matei, who took down Alex Jones and won the largest defamation verdict in U.S. history, and are suing Reed and Carney for defamation. I love John. I loved his niece, Kaylee, who called me at 4:53 that morning. McCabe says today, all I did was answer a call and try to help, and for that, my life has been destroyed. Oh, shut the fuck up. It was 2:07 a.m. on April 18th, 2023, when Carney sent a message from his home in Holden. He had been typing feverishly, working on his initial blog post about the murder of John O'Keefe. Now he attached it to a message for an intermediary between him and Reed. Read it over. Change exonerating to exonerate at end of first paragraph. Reed responded through the intermediary at 2:09 a.m. Why don't they just say Natalie the German, bro? Isn't that who that is? Isn't that who they're talking about? Is Natalie the fucking German? According to an extraction of Carney's cell phone, which was obtained by prosecutors as a result of witness intimidation charges against Carney, and later became public via Carney's now former girlfriend, 5150, he has a niece and nephew. Thank you, replied Carney, keep them coming in a live edit. At 2:14 a.m., Reed sent another note through the intermediary. Carrie Roberts repeated the same story as Jen. She kept sending edits until 3:06 a.m. when she was satisfied. Amazeball sauce, she wrote, according to the phone extraction. Thank you so much. Hope they like it, Carney wrote through the intermediary, a former college acquaintance of Reed's named Natalie the German. They love it. Incredible, the German replied. The week prior, the German had been introduced to Carney over Facebook by one of his followers. The two began texting, and after getting Reed's approval, the German started receiving information from Reed and passing it to Carney. According to the German and messages from Carney's phone extraction. There was other information Reed wanted to make sure Carney had. She started sending me pictures of Jen McCabe, Colin's battered knuckles, all the different Alberts, and just who's who. The German, who now regrets her support of Reed, told me that included a photo from Reed. And I wonder how that shit happened, man. Like, I wonder if Natalie the German was just like, hey, can you like make it clear that I'm no longer Team Karen Reed. Okay, I don't want anybody thinking that. Okay, so could you guys like please can you make sure that you put that somewhere in there? Supposedly showing state police. Okay, that included a photo from Reed, which Carney published, supposedly showing state police lead investigator Michael Proctor with McCabe's daughter. Supposedly, no. That's him. That's them. In fact, they were not McCabe's daughters. Carney was an unlike person to take on this role less than 2 weeks, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I don't care. 2 weeks after O'Keefe's death the prior year, he addressed the case on YouTube live stream. No doubt she killed him because obviously the taillight was out. But who the fuck intentionally kills someone by backing into them? He told his fans. He speculated that Reed was drunk and had driven into her boyfriend by accident. That, however, was before Reed and her lawyers. Dude, everybody thought that. Because that's the thing, man. It's like when you see some shit like that on the news, right? That's immediately what I thought. As soon as I saw the news story, I think I saw it on fucking Facebook. I'm not even on Facebook anymore. I think I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw the news story and I clicked on it and then I was like, okay. Her boyfriend's a cop. They got drunk together and she fucking probably gunned it to fucking take off and accidentally hit him. I mean, yeah, like that's it. It's not that complicated. That's all I thought. Lo and behold, like a year or two later, that, however, was before Reed and her lawyer started giving him access to information about the case to report for them. By him, they mean Turtle Boy, which could make him a star and award-winning journalist even. Please tell Turtle Boy he will get all the credit from my camp when this blows up. And when I talk to Dateline next, Reed wrote to Carney via the German, communicating through text and Signal, an encrypted messaging app, and eventually by phone. And you know, they only put that shit there, man. Like, Karen just didn't want people taking screenshots of private conversations and shit like that. Like, the Signal thing already, people were fucking talking shit, and so she just went with Signal to be fucking safe, as far as I understand it. Like, I remember I exchanged numbers with Karen. When I did, one of the first things she sent me was, do you mind if we switch over and communicate via Signal? And I said, not at all. And immediately, all I assumed was This is a person who's very public, and anything that she says, there is going to be people out there that take anything that she says and try to use it against her. She's fighting for her life right now. So that's immediately how I took that, which is completely insane to take it any other way. And the fact that she was communicating with Aiden behind the scenes only tells me that she knew she needed the public support. I don't even think that it was about a jury. I think it was just simply about getting public support. Getting people to listen and hear her side of the story. Just hear me out. Look how fucking insane this is. I know it's easy to see me and be like, okay, she's just some fucking lady who got drunk with her boyfriend and now she's just fucking trying to get away with it. She accidentally hit him and she's trying to completely avoid any type of accountability or responsibility. That's how people are going to take it because that's how it was painted in the mainstream media pretty much. But here she is at this point going, mainstream media is not reporting my story. And if people knew the whole story, I bet you anything, people would demand more truth. People would be on my side saying, all I want is the truth. That's not jury tampering. That's not grifting and creating a false campaign in order to get away with murder. That's fucking insane. Because it's not like the shit that Turtle Boy uncovered was false. Why the fuck do you think Turtle Boy has such a following right now? Why do you think that is? You think it's just because it's a bunch of hype? He's just some guy that people are talking about and they're just giving him a fucking, they're just talking about him and blowing him up and that's it? No. It's because he earned a level of credibility with the people of Massachusetts. And it's growing beyond Massachusetts. Because he is becoming, and this is the very, very obvious fucking fact, he is becoming the number one threat against mainstream media, which is why every time there was something that he broke, mainstream media wasn't about to report it. Why wouldn't they report it? Because Turtle Boy represents the one thing that they're scared of. Independent media. Corporations, politicians run corporations. Corporations run politicians. Corporations run the media. And so, mainstream media is told what to say. They're not just told what to report, they're told what to say. Someone like Turtle Boy they're not controlled by something like that. Somebody like me is not controlled by something like that. Apparently, Gretchen Voss at Boston Magazine isn't controlled by something like that either because her editors didn't do their jobs. Now, this goes on to say that, however, was before Reed and her lawyers started giving him access to information about the case to report for them, which could make him a star and award-winning journalist even. Please tell Turtle Boy he will get all the blah, 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 blah. I already read that. Communicating through text and signal, blah, 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 blah. I already read that. Reed would go on to use Carney to disseminate the alternative theory she hoped would upend the case, blah, blah, blah. I already read all that. Sorry about that. Carney called himself an investigative reporter. She put that in quotations. But his first blog was based entirely on court documents from the defense, including a motion and a 92-page affidavit filed 5 days earlier on April 12th. So now let's just shit on Aidan Carney and his abilities as a reporter. So here she is saying all he did was pull up court documents. Yeah, which is more than what mainstream media did at the time, isn't it? So technically, he investigated, didn't he? He investigated and then he fucking reported, didn't he? It's Big Earl. Thank you so much. Remember, for 29 months, Chris Matei is gay. Down the rabbit hole we go. Remember, for 2 months, mainstream media is wiggity, wiggity, whack. I agree. I mean, let's just get fucking real here, people. Carney called himself an investigative reporter, but his first blog was based entirely on court documents from the defense, including a motion and 92-page affidavit filed 5 days earlier on April 12th. And, okay, so what? If this is provided to him by a source, who cares? How is there not a better source than the defendant to offer an alternative perspective, to offer the evidence that no one else is showing? Who better than the defense of the defendant themselves? Who better? It makes no sense to sit here and act like that's some shady dealings. Here we go. Including him at 92 earlier. Including a motion and a 92-page affidavit filed 5 days earlier. On April 12th, which means it was already filed, which means that it's fucking it's public record. It's available. In it, Reed and her celebrity attorney from Los Angeles, Alan Jackson. I mean, her celebrity attorney from Los Angeles, Alan Action Jackson, peep. Yes, yes. Alan Jackson argued that Brian Albert and his nephew Colin Albert were responsible for O'Keefe's death and that Jennifer McCabe helped cover it up along with investigators. From that first post and hundreds more that would follow, putting the blame on the witnesses became a recurring feature of Carney's coverage as Reed continued to direct it. The morning the first blog hit, article, I think you mean, it jolted the tight-knit Canton community, rippling through group chats and youth sports sidelines. The witnesses' phones started blowing up, their DMs filling with questions and accusations. In the face of online harassment, the witnesses rushed to shut down their social media accounts. Reed appeared pleased with the fallout. They're all folding, she texted Carney through the German. For Carney, the reaction was welcome. His page views, largely from readers who call themselves turtle riders, surged to a reported 80,000 a day that April, up from 40,000 a day. Wow. So in one day, from 40,000 to 80,000, according to figures Carney previously provided to Boston. Many of these followers would form part of the Free Karen Reed movement, acting as foot soldiers in a campaign against the witnesses that he directed after taking his own marching orders from Reed and her lawyers. A few days later, on April 22nd, Carney, using the Canton Police Department's incident report, which the defense had recently filed unredacted against court rules with the witnesses' personal information, called McCabe and Brian Albert while live streaming and accused them of covering up O'Keefe's murder. He claimed McCabe was sleeping with Albert, her sister's husband. Then he showed images of that unredacted report on the live stream. His thousands of viewers now had the witnesses' private phone numbers, addresses, and social security numbers. After Carney's stream, Reed's local attorney, David Yannetti, the Cerebral Ninja, texted to congratulate him. "That was priceless, dude. Great," in all caps, "fucking show. Really enjoyed the turtle reporting," he wrote, adding that Carney mispronounced his name, but I loved how you followed it up by "that proves that I'm not talking to them," according to Carney's phone extraction. The next day, the Germans sent Carney a message from Reed, who wanted him to write more about the secret federal probe. "Not public. The feds have been involved longer than anyone is likely guessing," Reed told him. A week later, the German relayed confidential federal grand jury information that Reed should not have known about. The first assistant U.S. attorney, they don't shoot and miss. They have a case and way more evidence than we do. I know this for a fact. Jen McCabe testifies this coming week. I'm not sure about the others. This is not going to trial for me. The following week, on May 3rd, the first pretrial court appearance following Carney's inaugural blog, it appears clear that the effort to see the alternative theory that Carney's coverage was working, for the first time, a crowd of protesters gathered outside the courthouse, and a few dozen TV cameras and reporters were there to capture it all. They were clapping, Jackson told Boston in 2023, and then, as we walked in, the door shut, they started applauding, and we realized, okay, things have just shifted. Inside the courthouse, the next step in the campaign was about to unfold. 2 weeks earlier, on April 20th, just days after publishing his first post, Carney had spoken with Reed's defense team, who confirmed to him the federal investigation was underway. According to Carney's phone extraction, the admissions Carney later made on his YouTube live streams, where he acknowledged that Reed's team had been his source. Wait a second. And thank you, Sumo. I appreciate you. I am so consumed by this shit that I have only just realized that we in UK have a new prime minister. It happened 5 days ago. Adam Deitch for ADA. There you go. Thank you so much. And I don't know if I missed any. I think I missed some membership comments. Let's see. Who do you want on your side, Turtle Boy or Kate Peter? I'll take Turtle Boy. I agree. Member for 7 months. Thank you so much. They can talk trash all day, but he was effective. Member for 6 months. Thank you. Tons of fun. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I got to tell you, man. This is a powerful, hard-hitting article. And I think it might be changing my mind. I think I might just be doubting Karen Reed's innocence. I think I might just be doubting Karen Reed's innocence now because of this article. I mean, it's common sense, folks. If Karen Reed was sharing exculpatory evidence with Turtle Boy, well, that must mean that Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe. That's what that must mean. Why haven't I seen this? What took me so long to see things this way? What took me so long to see the fucking light? Karen Reed is guilty. Turtle Boy is bad. Ah! I feel like, is that the result that Gretchen Voss was going for? Like with this article? Because I'm trying to understand the logic. I mean, I could see maybe the logic is she's trying to affect the jury in Turtle Boy's trial. She's trying to get people to go, oh my God, that Turtle Boy's bad. Turtle Boy's bad. The problem is this article, so far, designed as a hit piece, is the biggest fucking Turtle Boy fluff job I've ever read. It's fantastic, as a matter of fact, because what this is going to do is this is going to get a lot of people on Turtle Boy's side here. This is gonna probably affect the jury, but in Turtle Boy's favor. Good job, Gresham boss. You're a boss. What's up, Emily C? It's okay. Will the feds have also brainwashed by Turtle Boy? He's very powerful, right? Yeah, because he brainwashed the feds. That's what he does. Because he's Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy is the big secret federal mole. This is amazing. Inside the courthouse, the next step in the campaign was about to unfold. 2 weeks later, on April 20th, just days after publishing his first post, Carney had spoken with Reed's defense team, who confirmed to him the federal investigation was underway. According to Carney's phone extraction and admissions Carney later made on his YouTube live stream, where he acknowledged that Reed's team had been his source. That same day, after the call, Carney posted a blog detailing the federal probe. In it, Carney wrote, according to reliable sources close to the matter, a federal grand jury has subpoenaed multiple witnesses who were in the home of Boston police officer Brian Albert on the night fellow BPD officer John O'Keefe was killed. The FBI has taken over the investigation, and they have visited the homes of multiple witnesses. He confirmed with 100% certainty that Jennifer McCabe had received a subpoena, even though federal grand jury information is supposed to be strictly confidential. At the time, Carney publicly denied, including to me, while reporting my story in the subsequent months, that he had any contact with Reed or her team. He lied to me. I interviewed him before and he lied. He didn't say that Reed was his source. He didn't reveal his source to another journalist. How could he do that? It's so dishonest. He protected his source. As a journalist, I can't understand why he would do that. It makes absolutely no sense. Fucking moron. Buzzing for Truth, thank you so much. Forced membership, love it. Unreal. On a later live stream, he acknowledged that he had lied to me at Reed's request. Jesus Christ. On May 3rd, the defense team's leak came full circle. It's been reported that federal authorities have now gotten involved in the circumstances surrounding this case and have impaneled a federal grand jury to investigate some of these circumstances, Jackson announced to the court. Then, raising his voice for dramatic effect, he added Karen Reed should not have to wait for the feds to figure out which head should roll. Jackson was able to speak about the federal involvement, punctuation will. Jackson was able to speak about federal involvement and the grand jury in open court and have it entered into public record because it had already been reported by Turtle Boy. In a later court filing opposing a proposed gag order, Yannetti argued that Jackson had merely been reiterating what had already been publicly reported, not, he said, revealing anything about the grand jury being impaneled, something about which the defense team would have no knowledge. What Yannetti did not add is that it had been reported because his team had leaked it to Carney. Jackson and Yannetti did not respond for requests for comment. Why the fuck would they talk to you, dude? Like, listen. If Boston Magazine is an asswipe, the reason it is because Gretchen's name is on the toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? Like that's her. She's the bear. She's the bear going, oh, it's so soft. That's what Gretchen Voss is to Boston Magazine. If Boston Magazine is an asswipe, she's the bear going, oh, I got the problem where it sticks. That's her. The cartoon bear. That's what she is. But the defense team's role in the federal investigation went back further than merely leaking it to the press. Did you kill John O'Keefe? Colin Albert says Adam Deitch, and an assistant U.S. attorney yelled at him. I love this. So this is what they're saying, that Adam Deitch yelled at Colin Albert and said, "Did you kill John O'Keefe?" And he replied, "No." And he said, "Tell us the truth." I love that shit. For the record, I don't know who killed Boston police officer John O'Keefe, but I like to go with the evidence. And I think that the evidence that we look at as far as Colin Albert goes is mostly just speculative. But Higgy had the motive, man. There's video evidence of Higgy being aggressive towards John. All that shit. Text messages. There's just too much. There's too much fucking evidence with Higgy. So that's where I'm leaning. So I think Higgy did it. But I think Brian had more to do with it. And I do find it extremely suspicious, because my whole thing with Colin Albert is I just feel like it's really suspicious that everyone protects him. Like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, even people like court officers seem to be protecting him. It's weird. So that to me is very, very, suspicious, but it just makes me ask questions like why, but I don't have anything that actually tells me. I mean, there's the Knuckles and the ridiculous story of catching yourself on your knuckles. Nobody believes that. It was his evasiveness on the stand and not being very good at it. So there just seems to be a lot of coordinated effort to protect Colin. And I find that to be suspicious, but I can't say why. It was suffocatingly hot. It was a suffocatingly hot day in late July 2023 when Colin was called to testify before the federal grand jury at the Moakley courthouse. Colin recalls, 19 years old and recently finished with his freshman year at Bridgewater State, where he played football. He says he didn't understand why he was even there. Colin's lawyer was, I believe that shit. I feel like dude walks around like, and really kind of depends on whoever's around him to let him know like what's happening, like around him. I feel like he strikes me as that kind of kid. Like he strikes me as that type of dude. It's like, yeah, it's okay, Colin. It's okay. You're at school. Yeah, you're at school now. You have to go into the building. Okay? Okay. Have a good day. Colin's lawyer was not allowed inside the small square room where rows of jurors faced him. Not one, as it is customary, but two federal attorneys questioned him. Two of them were Adam Deitch, an assistant U.S. attorney who is now running for Norfolk County District Attorney, and Josh Levy, the acting U.S. attorney for the District of Massachusetts, a role that doesn't typically question witnesses. Dustin Chow, another assistant U.S. attorney, was also present. Now, I wonder why that might be. I wonder why Josh Levy might have been so directly involved in this federal investigation. Could it be because there's so much fucking corruption? Now, I'll be honest, there's probably political aspirations there. But he wouldn't see the value politically unless there was shit to fucking blow up. Unless there was shit to put out there and just fucking, like, unless there was like this massive conspiracy to uncover, like he wouldn't be so personally involved because he's going to want his face in front of those cameras. For sure. Without a doubt. Now, you know, I love Josh Levy like everybody else. He was the big hero in this whole thing. I get it. But at the same time, like, let's just be real. You know what I mean? Robert B. gifted 10 memberships. Holy. Thank you so much, Robert B. Behind Colin's shoulder, Carney's tweets and blogs were projected onto a screen. Colin says every single thing came from him. They didn't use anything else, nothing else. Colin tells me, nodding, that they didn't even bother to take Carney's name off the screenshots. Eventually, they accused me of every single thing, Carney said. They accused me of every single thing Carney said. They also projected, Colin says, the same pictures Carney had published on his blog. Colin playing football, Colin at the wedding when he was a young boy, Colin's bloody knuckles. Those pictures, according to Carney's phone extraction, had originated with Reed, who had found them while trolling Facebook late at night and sent them to Carney through the intermediary to print online. According to Colin, the material federal prosecutors put before the grand jury had, in significant part, originated with Carney. What he didn't know at the time was that Carney had received it from Reed. After hours of confrontational, combative questioning, Colin asked for a break, went back into the small room where his lawyer waited, and broke down. When it was all over, he broke down again in his father's car. I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't even speak, Colin says. I was like, what the fuck did they do to me in there? Why are you, like... bro. And this kid just joined the army. So a grand jury, you should not have been shook up like that. I don't even care how fucking, I don't care if you're fucking 19 years old, dude. Like, and stop making 19-year-old boys to be like these little fucking fragile little fucking things, dude, okay? Maybe they are these days. I don't know. But, like, there's a reason why once you turn 18, you're an adult and you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for the decisions you make. You're responsible. Why is him being 19, why are they making him out to be like this poor little sweet baby? You see what I'm talking about? Even Gretchen Voss is doing it. It's fucking weird. Sonia, thank you so much. Member for 10 months. Voss leaking secret grand jury info sauce. Colin. Needing BLT and Horforio petty. They deserve it. Man, there's so much petty. There's so much. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna close out the month of July with lots of petty. There'll probably be a petty tonight. We'll see. I don't know. Let's see. Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey has called the federal intervention in his office's murder case unprecedented. Dude, is she really gonna like blow up Michael Morrissey here? He is not the only one. According to a former assistant U.S. attorney who worked in the office's public corruption unit, it is rare for the federal government to open a parallel investigation into an active state homicide case, and rarer still for a murder defendant's attorneys to bring the case to them. How exactly Reed's defense team got to the ear of, how about it's rare? Like, this is what blows my mind. Like, this is where perspective comes into play. These are the little fucking games that Gretchen Voss is playing. These little word games that Gretchen Voss is playing here. She's like, it is rare for the public, according to the assistant U.S. attorney who worked in the office's public corruption unit, it is rare for the federal government to open a parallel investigation into an active state case, in an active state homicide case. And rarer still for a murder defendant's attorney to bring the case to them. How about it's because it's super fucking rare that an entire local government seems to want to fucking protect this one family that sits in buttfuck Massachusetts named Canton. How about that's weird? How about that's rare? How about it's rare that a fucking entire fucking DA's office, well, not even the DA's office, just the DA, for some reason, decides he wants to spend taxpayer money on special prosecutors because nobody in the actual DA's office wants to prosecute the case. The only one you could get was Limp Dick Lally to do it the first time. And since that was such a fucking shit show, you had to get fucking Hank Brennan, because you're sitting here thinking, oh, well, they got Alan Jackson, and Alan Jackson's such a high-profile lawyer. The only way that a jury is going to fucking convict Karen Reed is if we get a high-profile lawyer to prosecute the case. I know that's what Michael Morrissey was thinking, which is fucking ridiculous. That's insane. And it tells you that's how a politician thinks. That's not how a fucking trial lawyer thinks. And Michael Morrissey, as I understand it, has never tried a case in court. Has never actually argued a case. Yet he's the district attorney. But that's how a politician thinks, not a trial lawyer. Lesson number 4,782. The Glare Institute of Law and stuff, folks. Okay? Yeah, how about it's rare that they fucking protect this family in this weird, eerie fucking way? How exactly Reed's defense team got the ear of the U.S. Attorney's Office before the federal investigation began remains unclear. Yeah, so you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. What's clearer is a series of documented connections, some direct, some circumstantial, between people around Reed's case and people around the federal office that took it up. Yannetti had a prior professional relationship with Rachel Rollins, the U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, in the fall of 2022 when the federal probe began. Doesn't she support Turtle Boy now? He had been invited to serve on Rollins' transition team when she took office in 2019. According to multiple sources, including Morrissey, Rollins deeply disliked Morrissey, whom she had publicly accused of being misogynistic. Yeah. She wouldn't be saying that if she was condemning Turtle Boy. In a letter he wrote to the DOJ's Office of Professional Responsibility after learning his witnesses were being subpoenaed to the federal grand jury, Morrissey formally raised what he called concerns about motive, conflict, or appearance of conflict, and potential bias by the Office of the United States Attorneys for Massachusetts. Morrissey wrote that Chow, the head of the U.S. Attorney's Public Corruption Unit, who was heading up the federal investigation, had asked a Massachusetts State Police detective in 2018 if he had any kind of damaging information on the district attorney, for first assistant, or the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. I confirmed this with the detective, who added that Chow had disparaged Morrissey in vulgar terms and told him, I would do a case against that guy if you know anything about him. The animosity, Morrissey wrote in his letter, stemmed from his office attempting to demote Chow's wife, Laura, from her position at the Norfolk County DA's office years earlier. She resigned instead and filed an ethics complaint, which was dismissed. Morrissey also pointed to Rollins, who resigned in the wake of an investigation by the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General that found, among other ethical violations, that she tried to create the public impression that the DOJ was investigating a political opponent of hers. I believe that a reasonable person could conclude that the same type of tactics are being employed against the Norfolk District Attorney's Office in the Reed investigation, Morrissey wrote. In an emailed response, Rollins says that the unsigned OIG report is an allegation, not a finding, and she disagrees with it. Like, this whole thing is to discredit Rachel Rollins. Like, this whole section of this article is just a hit piece on Rachel Rollins. The former assistant U.S. attorney told me that Carney's blog was something federal prosecutors in the office would read. Most of the time, it was nothing, he said, but 10% of the time, there may be something there. The office had, in fact, brought a public corruption case that Carney's blog had covered aggressively. Monica Cannon Grant, a prominent activist from whom Levy, Chow, and Deitch would indict and prosecute for, among other things, defrauding the city of Boston out of COVID relief funds. Carney denies having ever spoken to anyone in the U.S. Attorney's Office. Public corruption cases are notoriously hard to bring. Oh, like, wait. Let me go back to this Monica Cannon Grant person. Isn't she trying to like sue Aiden now or something like that? Like, isn't she trying to sue Aiden now? Somebody in the chat let me know if I got the wrong person or not. She's not? Okay. All right, whatever. Public corruption cases are notoriously hard to bring, the former assistant U.S. attorney told me, especially in Blue, Massachusetts, where there aren't two political parties investigating one another. Prosecutors are desperate for and rely on tips, he says, and take them from wherever they can, be it the Boston Globe Spotlight team or Carney, anonymous whistleblowers, even a murder defendant. For her part, Reed claimed in her communications with Carney and others to have a direct line to the U.S. Attorney's office. None of this fully explains how Reed's defense team got their case before the U.S. Attorney's office, but why the office took it up may be less mysterious. The former U.S. Attorney, Assistant U.S. Attorney, told me that the opportunity to potentially expose a major cover-up involving the state police, Canton PD, and the DA's office would have been, in his words, right in the wheelhouse of any U.S. Attorney's office and career-defining for whoever led it. That was Levy, then the acting U.S. Attorney after Rollins' forced resignation. Levy did not respond to requests for comment. However, it all went down in September 2022. According to a statement from Jackson in court, the Fed subpoenaed the defense's entire case file. Morrissey says his office reached out to Levy multiple times, offering to share the state's evidence from their investigation. Levy turned them down. Instead, Levy called the witnesses before a grand jury. When you have the leverage that the feds have, sometimes you have to put pressure on. You drag people into the grand jury. That kind of stirs the pot, gets people talking, says the former assistant U.S. attorney, adding that if he had caught wind of an alleged vast conspiracy, he too would have pulled at a few strings to see where it led. Where that led, Brian Albert believes, was to the witnesses being treated as suspects. Albert, who was a sergeant, detective, and commander of Boston Police Department's fugitive unit, who helped catch the Craigslist killer, and who earned honors for bravery and valor, was also called to testify before the federal grand jury. It was very aggressive. It was not I was not in there as a witness, he says. I was in there as a suspect. That was the first time that anybody of any importance was insinuating that. Just as with his nephew Colin, Brian says the U.S. Attorney's Office appeared to take much of their information from Reed's defense team via Carney's blogs and social media posts. Brian says he was tag-teamed by 3 federal prosecutors, Levy, Deitch, and Chow. I do not rile easily, Brian says, and I was freaking distraught. I like the word distraught, like it's just... I hear that in a Boston accent. It makes me laugh. His wife, Nicole, sister of Jennifer McCabe, and McCabe's daughter, Allie, were also reduced to tears by the hostile questioning during their own testimonies. Cry me a fucking river. While Reed was telling Carney that she had a direct line to the feds, O'Keefe's family could not get a return phone call or email from the U.S. Attorney's Office. John's brother, Paul O'Keefe, reached out to Levy repeatedly and got nothing in response. Though the O'Keefe family and the prosecution could not get any answers, Reed continued to weaponize the Fed's involvement for Carney to disseminate. In early May 2023, for instance, she texted through the intermediary, Josh Levy is the first assistant. There's only one first assistant, and he doesn't typically prosecute. Like, he never prosecutes. He just delegates to the assistants within the division, e.g. Adam Deitch. But he's running this grand jury. And to substantiate the gravity of this particular federal probe, Levy is not a prosecuting attorney, but he's making an exception for this case. Meanwhile, the existence of the federal case only amplified the harassment of the witnesses. Jesus Christ, another harassment of witnesses. Shut the fuck up. And was used to legitimize it. With disastrous effects, McCabe says she reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office multiple times, telling them one of her daughters had begun self-harming and had spent 3 months in a partial mental health program. She got no response. This, too, is unusual, according to a retired FBI agent from the Massachusetts field office who worked on public corruption cases. We went after people that were bothering our witnesses all the time. The former agent says it's standard operated procedure, and they could have done the same to Carney and his followers. We'd go out and tell them, look, if you do it again, we're going to arrest you. Leave our witnesses alone. Protecting witnesses so they can come forward to testify is critically important to the integrity of the justice system. Meanwhile, the worst harassment was only beginning. On July 22nd, 2023, McCabe, her husband, and two of her four daughters, huddled inside their Canton home as Carney stood outside screaming into a bullhorn at a crowd of more than 100 followers. I want all Jen McCabe's neighbors to know, in case they don't already know, that the people who live right here are cop killers. They are cop killers. Over the course of 2 hours, Carney, driving a brand new Lexus, had led a caravan of cars on what he called a rolling rally. Dozens of cars made their way through the streets of Canton, stopping at the homes of 7 different witnesses to listen and cheer on Carney as he blared accusations while live streaming for the rest of his followers. Carney's behavior at the rally had the backing of Karen Reed's attorneys, who had also filed the police report in court with the witnesses' unredacted addresses. That evening, after the rally, Yannetti messaged Carney, "Thanks for the continued support," according to Carney's phone extraction. I mean, yeah, like this whole thing is totally designed to affect the jury in Aiden's case. Because that's the thing, is like, I'm telling you right now, there is no jury that's going to convict Aiden Carney in Massachusetts. There's just not. You're never going to get 12 people to convict him on those insane charges, especially after the facts of the case are presented. Like, the Karen Reed case is way too public. Too many people know what happened to her was bullshit. Too many people appreciate Aiden Carney for uncovering it. That's it. By this point, Yannetti and Carney were in regular communication, with Carney sending Yannetti tips and Yannetti sending court documents and confidential information, on top of the many phone calls between them. For instance, after McCabe went to the Stoughton District Court for a harassment prevention order against Carney, Yannetti texted Carney on May 30th with news: HPO denied. That night, Carney blogged about it, ending his post with a kicker: "The bad news for Jen is that we're just getting started. Buckle up, horse face." I can't believe she put that in there. Like, all that's going to do is make people laugh. What's up, baby boy? What are you doing? Oh, you can't see him. What do you want? I'm in the middle of this. By the beginning of May, Reed had dropped the intermediary. That would be the German. And she and Carney started communicating directly over Signal. And many of their messages appear in Carney's phone extraction. They also communicated by phone 189 times, totaling more than 40 hours. In 2023 alone, according to an affidavit filed the following year seeking a search warrant to seize Reed's phone. Carney also recorded some of those phone calls, presumably without Reed's permission, an act that Massachusetts law defines as illegal wiretapping, and those recordings have also been leaked online by 5150. All the while, witnesses were being targeted relentlessly. The Free Karen Reed followers, the Free Karen Readers followed and confronted him. Showing up at Caitlin Albert's wedding in New Hampshire, posting pictures of the McCabe's on vacation in Aruba, screaming at Brian Albert as he tried to eat lunch in a crowded mall food court. It got so bad that Colin Albert says he was forced to quit playing football and give up his lifelong dream of playing in college as a result of the harassment from Carney and his followers. He is now enrolled in the U.S. Army. Then, of course, there's the hostage video here. Not knowing what else to do, on August 25th, for the first time in his 12 years in office, Morrissey released a nearly 6-minute video statement pushing back on the absolutely baseless claims of conspiracy, condemning the harassment of witnesses and disavowing the false narratives that witnesses, he said, certainly did not commit murder or any crime that night. It didn't help. I wonder why. Let's watch that and find out why it didn't help.
This will be the first statement of its kind in my dozen years as Norfolk District Attorney. The
Really?
harassment of witnesses in the murder prosecution of Karen Reed is absolutely baseless. It should be an outrage to any decent person, and it needs to stop.
It needs to stop.
Innuendo is not evidence. False narratives are not evidence. However, what evidence does show is that John O'Keefe never entered the home at 34 Fairview Road in Canton the night he died. Location data from his phone, recovered from the lawn beneath.
This right here, and this is what Gretchen Voss does not state in her article. And this is what makes Boston Magazine an asswipe, is the fact that she failed to state the fact that this is a Massachusetts county. This is a Massachusetts, a county district attorney in Massachusetts, in Norfolk County, Massachusetts, a district attorney who is trying a high-profile case in the public. That is what he's doing by making this video. And this is totally unethical, completely unprofessional, and an absolute violation, and a very public violation of Karen Reed's civil rights. It's fascinating. And yet Gretchen Voss does not point this out.
His body when he was transported to the hospital shows that his phone did not enter that home. 11 people have given statements that they did not see John O'Keefe enter the home at 34 Fairview that night. 0 people have said that they saw him enter the home. 0. No one. Some have, without any evidence, pointed to 18-year-old Colin Albert, a nephew of the homeowner, and accused him of attacking John O'Keefe as he entered the home. But phone evidence shows O'Keefe never entered the home at all.
I mean,
Testimony from witnesses.
he's talking about testimony. He's talking about evidence. Like he is basically giving a closing argument before a trial even starts. This is absolutely and totally wrong.
Tell us that 18-year-old Colin Albert had left his uncle's home before John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
And we've already seen this. But look at how she puts this. Not knowing what else to do. The poor DA. The poor DA who doesn't know how to handle his job. Right? The poor DA not knowing what else to do. What if people had said that shit? And I'm not saying this pro or against Trump. I'm not doing that here. I'm just making a good point. Like, what did people sound like when people were like, well, no, Trump didn't know what to do with COVID. It was unprecedented. He didn't know what to do. That's not the point. People don't want to hear that shit. People want to hear from our elected leaders what to do. They want to be able to. We want to be able to trust our elected leaders to be able to take control of the situation and handle it. That's why we elect them, right? So it's fascinating for her to sit here and say this fucking this district attorney just didn't know what to do. And so he puts out this fucking hostage video. And he tries, and he attempts to try Karen Read in the public. Because he didn't know what to do. My God. Oh my God, this turtle boy is so, there's never been anything like him, so I didn't know what to do. I'm a district attorney and I don't know what to do. Nobody wants to hear that shit. On September 5th, Carney directed remarks in a YouTube live stream towards Chris Albert, the father of Colin Albert. I go down to your pizza shop and I stand out there for an hour and I yell shit about your son, Carney said. I accuse him of some of the most heinous things possible and I affect business. People don't want to go into your business because of all the things I'm saying. A few days later, when Carney texted Yannetti not to worry that he would get in trouble when discussing what could happen if he were ever charged with wiretapping a witness, Yannetti responded, I am concerned they want you badly. They charge you, then a judge prohibits you from having contact with witnesses, according to Carney's phone extraction. Around that time, according to a complaint later filed in court by the witnesses, Reed and Turtle Boy became administrators of the Facebook group Justice of Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Read, Turtle Boy official. The two had complete control over the group, including approving or denying posts, and the group played host to defamatory and harassing posts about the witnesses. According to the complaint, Reed also personally posted in the group multiple times, including sharing confidential information that hadn't yet been released to the public. So what? Meanwhile, Reed continued to direct Carney's coverage of the case. On September 18th, Reed sent pictures of Brian Albert and his wife, Nicole, at their son's football game. Fucking cornered rat Brian Albert continues to fight us getting his fucking call log, she texted, according to Carney's phone extraction. Can you make a post just for this? Carney complied. The Alberts are living constantly on edge and have to hide like cornered rats, he wrote in the post. She also directed Carney to monitor multiple witnesses' homes, which we'd love is for someone to do what we'd love is for someone to do for surveillance on Wentworth tonight. She texted Carney the following week in reference to investigator Michael Proctor's house after asking him to run the plates of a car with a Massachusetts State Police sticker on the back, according to Carney's phone extraction. We really need surveillance set up. Please don't breathe a word of this, she texted, followed by a request to go to the home of witness Carrie Roberts. Get a pic of that cow's Explorer, Reed texted. This shit is very funny to me. Because, I mean, whatever, man. Fuck Carrie Roberts. Like, Karen Read was called a lot worse than Carrie Roberts was just called. So, just say it. It's very funny. Get a figure of that cow's Explorer. The witnesses were not the only targets. In late September 2023, I wrote a story about the case that raised questions about Reed's account of what happened the night O'Keefe was killed. What kind of horrible excuse for a mother supports cop killers? Someone texted me after the story was published, sending a picture of my sons when they were young, taken from my Facebook page. You dragged them into this. Good job, Ms. Voss. My local police department sent extra officers to my son's Friday night football game. The day my story went live, Reed texted Carney on Signal. According to his phone extraction, call out Gretchen for not confirming that stupid fucking manipulated text from Colin? And did you call her out on missing the lack of date stamp for January 29th? Within hours, Carney sent me a barrage of texts followed by blog posts trashing me, eventually putting my non-public phone number on the internet, which people use to send me threatening and vile messages. Carney also publicly accused me of sleeping with the DA's married public relations officer. The accusation was false. Carney kept at it. Over the following months, his blog attacked me repeatedly. In one bracket-style feature, he ran on witnesses, court personnel, and journalists. My name appeared alongside allegations that I had failed as a journalist and that I had traded editorial favors for a burger dinner with the DA spokesperson. Come on, man. That shit is so fucking... Oh, my God. She's so upset. This is the funniest shit in the world. Like, listen, I want to say that I don't think anyone listen, I don't condone that kind of behavior, man. Like going to like people's fucking like going after people's families and posting pictures of their families and shit and doing all that fucking craziness. Like I can't relate to that shit. But you gotta admit that shit's funny. Hold on. She failed as a journalist and that she had traded editorial favors for a burger dinner. With the DA spokesperson. My phone number circulated in the Turtle Rider community. Strangers sent me messages accusing me of being a shill, a whore, a bad mother. I received calls late at night. When I appeared in the courthouse to cover the trial, women I had never met called me disgusting repeatedly. I mean, well, because you are. You are. And you're an aged out hooker. Name of it changed what my reporting found. But I did make clear that anyone who asked hard questions about Reed's case could expect to be answered with the same machinery that was coming for the witnesses. The difference was mostly 1 degree. Now, that's what's really funny is they say things like asking hard questions, right? They use those words like asking hard questions about Reed's case. That's not asking. They don't ask hard questions. They ask stupid questions and then get shit for it. That's what happens every time. Okay? Make no fucking mistake about it. Make no fucking mistake about it. Okay? Like, that's it. It's so fucking stupid. Like, you ask stupid questions and then people go, okay, idiot. Like really the default answer became ARCA. Like the default answer to stupid fucking questions being asked on Twitter was just ARCA. Just ARCA. ARCA. Like, that's it. That's all you need. Shut the fuck up. Karen Reed didn't hit anybody with a car, and nobody got hit with Karen Reed's car. Period. The harassment and the news of the federal investigation that fueled it served a purpose in Reed's defense, casting doubt on the witnesses by making them appear to be the perpetrators of the crime. That's because the evidence dictated this, and casting doubt on the state's investigators by suggesting that they were the subjects of a federal probe. Reed knew it was working. In a signal message to Carney on September 29th, she reveled in the effects of his work. Look at what you've done to their reputation, she wrote, and my jury pool. as the bus carrying and that's a fact. Why the fuck wouldn't she celebrate that? Now, here's the thing. There's a big difference between her going, look at what you've done to my jury pool, versus, hey, listen, I need to coordinate with you, Turtle Boy, to harass witnesses and get them to look like they actually killed John O'Keefe so that the jury pool will be affected and none of them, we can't get a jury to convict me. I'm going to need you to get to work on that. That's a lot different. Okay? Why the fuck would she not celebrate that? Why the fuck would she not be happy about that? Think about that for a second. This is a woman who, for a second, like, is living a fucking nightmare. Like a fucking a living nightmare. Being accused of a crime from a government that she pays taxes to in order to trust and protect her from this kind of shit. And they themselves are framing her for a fucking murder of a cop in Boston. It's got to be the scariest fucking thing that I can imagine. So when she actually sees, oh my God, the public, my one chance was that the public sees what's happening to me. Now that the public sees it, now she's like, okay, jury pool, good fucking job. Hell yeah. Now I have a fucking chance. Now I have a fighting chance against the corrupt local government. Because before I didn't have that. Because the only chance that you have against fighting a corrupt local government is to have the is to have the protection of the people, to have the support of the people. The one thing that the government is afraid of is the people. Of course she's going to celebrate. Because now she sees a glimmer of hope. Now, after that living fucking nightmare, she sees a glimmer of hope. And like, to make this out to be like this is some sort of fucking nefarious thing is insane. And it's shitty. This is why Gretchen Voss is an aged out hooker. As the bus carrying the jurors made its way from the undisclosed location to the courthouse each day in the spring of 2024, the 12 jurors who were supposed to know nothing about the case looked out the windows at the massive banner on Route 1A that read in large red letters, Karen Read was framed. They passed dozens of protesters camped out at a legacy place along the bus route, wielding protesters with slogans like "Way Beyond Reasonable Doubt" and "DA Stop Lying," even if they weren't looking. There was no avoiding the sounds of people yelling "Free Karen Read" at their bus. Though the judge had instituted a 200-foot buffer zone around the courthouse to protect the jurors from contentious protests, which Carney led on his bullhorn during pretrial hearings, it did nothing to help. Hundreds of women and some men clad in pink merch, Reed's requested color, lined the street across from the courthouse and in the adjacent field, shaking pink pom-poms, dancing, the music blasting out of public... Blasting out of pickup trucks and walking dogs in Jackson Yannetti shirts. Okay. Good job, Turtle Boy. The jury room on the second floor down the hall from the courtroom overlooked that field. And wait a second. Oh, Liz88 gifted a membership. Thank you so much. Appreciate ya. The jury room on the second floor down the hall from the courtroom overlooked that field where Reed and her legal team made their entrance and exit every day. We could figure out when Karen was leaving the building and when she was coming back because there were cheers. says one juror in the first trial who requested anonymity to speak about the proceedings. When they peeked through the blinds, they could see it all, including at one point a bouncy house and lobster food truck. The field transformed into something resembling a circus. Many of them reported it all to the court officers. Nothing was done to stop it. We kept saying, I can't believe they're letting this happen, the juror says. Shut the fuck up. That's a goddamn lie. I call bullshit. The juror also recounted what another juror had described. His wife had told him that Carney was assigning nicknames to each of the jurors. Just knowing that was really uncomfortable and not cool, the anonymous juror says. Once the jurors recognized Carney in the courtroom, she says they grew nervous he would identify and dox them. He had done so to a juror in a previous case in that same court. We felt intimidated, she says, adding that about halfway through the trial, the jurors asked court officers to ask the judge to remove Carney from the courtroom. He was not removed. Dude, okay. Wasn't that bullshit? I don't remember it was a juror saying that about Aiden. First of all, I don't remember any juror saying that they felt intimidated by Aiden, because that would have been ran with. If any juror would have came forward and said that they felt intimidated by Aiden, they would have charged Aiden with witness intimidation, with jury tampering. That's what they would have charged Aiden with. They would have charged him with anything they possibly could have. And with Fanning being in charge of that jury, give me a fucking break. I don't believe anything I'm reading right now in regards to this jury. Nothing. I mean, the fact that this had to get fact checked twice. 2 updates made in this article because David Yannetti called it out. And we're getting through this, folks. It's a long article, so bear with me. On July 1st, 2024, the judge declared a mistrial after the jury said they were deadlocked. The anonymous juror believes Carney had a direct impact on that outcome. Get the fuck out of here. If the conspiracy theory, I don't believe that shit for a second. I do not believe that this anonymous juror exists in the slightest bit. I call absolute bullshit. If the conspiracy theory was never created, there's no doubt in my mind that she'd be in jail. No doubt. Get the fuck out of here. The day after the mistrial, let me translate that. If her defense hadn't been created, if her defense hadn't been presented, then she'd be in jail. No doubt. The day after the mistrial, Paul O'Keefe emailed U.S. Attorney Levy. I would appreciate the opportunity to meet with you regarding your involvement in the murder case against Karen Reed, he wrote. You were kind enough to meet with her and her legal team, and now I think it's time to meet with the family of the actual victim in this case. He never received a reply. He sent another email and another. He left a voicemail. Nothing. The mere fact that they were involved was used in court to create a cloud of doubt. The defense used it as a weapon, says Paul O'Keefe. Nobody would come out and speak or say anything. I mean, well, they shouldn't have been doing shady shit. I mean, that's the thing is instead of looking at the evidence, Paul O'Keefe is just looking at everything as some sort of angle. But it's like, well, look at what they uncovered. O'Keefe's family, who filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Reed that August, weren't the only ones who were stonewalled. Helena Rafferty, the Canton chief of police at the time, says she repeatedly reached out to Levy and Deitch, begging them to help. She told them that that there was an enormous amount at stake, that if they didn't do something, allowing the intimidation of witnesses to continue would set a precedent, allowing the whole justice system to crumble, she says. They finally agreed to meet in the fall between Reed's mistrial and the second trial. I had repeatedly reached out to Adam Deitch, like, these people are getting eaten alive. They're your witnesses too, Rafferty recalls telling him. When she arrived at the meeting, 9 people were seated around a large table, including Levy and Deitch. I said, I am coming in to beg for help, she says, and opened up a huge portfolio full of abusive letters and emails that had been sent to the witnesses, residents of her town. And I'm crying. I'm saying, help me help these witnesses. This is crazy. She wanted them to speak up and tell Carney's followers, the Free Karen Reed diehards, that the witnesses were, in fact, witnesses and not murderers. Well, there's a problem with that. See, here she is opening a portfolio, and I wonder, Helena Rafferty, I wonder if that portfolio contained the letters received by Karen Reed supporters. I wonder if it had photographs of the vandalism done to people who were open Karen Reed supporters, who spoke out at select board meetings in Canton. Helena Rafferty, I wonder, did your portfolio include those? I wonder. Levy texted her later. They had talked about it for a while after she left. Rafferty said he wrote, and there was really nowhere they could go with it. Levy stepped down in January 2025 due to the change in presidential administration. Duh. And Leah Foley was appointed U.S. attorney shortly thereafter. Her office contacted Rafferty and other law enforcement figures involved in the case, including Commonwealth Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan, and let them know that the investigation was closed. The case that had run for nearly two years, during which time they allowed Reed to stand trial for murder twice without intervention, resulted in no charges against any of the witnesses or against anyone else. The only conviction from the entire investigation was of one of the federal grand jurors themselves, who pleaded guilty to leaking confidential grand jury information. Though Foley told her law enforcement partners that they could announce it and allowed lawyers for Brian Albert and Brian Higgins to stay in open court, that they were not targets of the investigation, her office never made an official statement. That left the door open for Reed and her followers to hijack and misrepresent the news. I don't know if I believe that, Reed said, with a smile, with a reporter asked whether she was encouraged or discouraged by the Fed's decision to stop investigating the case. I have good reason not to, from the horse's mouth. So, I don't believe it either. The thing is federal crimes don't just go away. So, it's weird to say that the investigation into them would just go away. Now, things might change, but they're not going to just go away. If there is a U.S. Attorney's Office who put in a bunch of resources to investigate a crime, and there's a lot of evidence that's already uncovered, and there is reason to continue the investigation, then they probably will. And them saying that the investigation is closed, I call bullshit on. They never do that. We talked about this. We talked about this 100 times. Like, they never just close these investigations. Like, what they do is they put the investigations on hold. They say we're no longer, the investigation is no longer active, but it doesn't mean that it's closed. Carney's stated goal of influencing the jury pool. We are trying to affect the jury pool. We are, he shouted at one rally. That's exactly what I'm doing. Appeared by his own metric to be succeeding. Jury selection for the state's retrial of Reed began on April Fool's Day, 2025. It took 10 days for the 591 prospective jurors to find 18 who were deemed fit for the trial. The day the jury was brought back into the courtroom to ask a question amid their deliberations, two jurors appeared to look directly at Carney, who was sitting in the media section, and smile. I was in the courtroom that day and saw it. After they delivered their verdict later that day, as they filed out, one of them appeared to look straight at Carney and smile broadly. After the case was over, the jury foreman, who later said he didn't take a single note after the first witness testified, called the witnesses suspects in a post-trial interview, and even though the defense was prohibited from mentioning the theory of their involvement in the crime during the trial. So the jury foreman who didn't take any notes, I guess because he didn't take any notes, he wasn't credible. And that's why Karen Reed was found not guilty, even though he's done several interviews since the trial where he's stating details of the case, where everyone else on the jury talked about him as though he was a fucking sieve of information. Like, it just did not fucking budge. This guy locked down information. This guy had a photographic memory, they said. Oh my God. Paul just gifted 5 memberships. I appreciate you, Paul. Didn't take any notes. In addition to the harassment, they continue to suffer. The witnesses now face Reed's own lawsuit against them. Alongside the wrongful death suit that O'Keefe's family filed against Reed in 2024, which is still ongoing, Reed has filed her own civil rights suit against witnesses Jennifer and Matthew McCabe, Brian and Nicole Albert, Brian Higgins, and several law enforcement officials, alleging that they concocted a plan, executed that plan, and framed an innocent woman to steer the murder investigation away from themselves. Adam Deitch is still a sitting U.S. attorney. Reed is heard telling Carney in a phone call recorded in the months after her acquittal. She was warning Carney not to tweet about what she had called her private conversations with Deitch and the lawyers. She continues, "I really don't need federal attorneys knowing that I've leaked stuff to you, and now you're showing it off." I asked to meet Deitch to discuss Reed's statements about him and his role in the federal investigation. He agreed, and we spoke for 3 hours over coffee at a restaurant in Milton. In the months before our meeting, Deitch had sold his East Boston condo, moved to Quincy, and left what he calls a dream job at the U.S. Attorney's Office to run for Norfolk County DA. The office whose handling of the Reed case had been the subject of the federal investigation he led. He told me he had heard the recording of Reed, but denied that he ever had private conversations with her. I've never met Karen Reed or communicated with Karen Reed, he said. I did send thank you notes to her and her family after they contributed to my campaign, and I'm proud to have the support of anyone who cares as much as they do about change in the Norfolk County DA's office. Indeed, Reed and her family and her lawyers have donated to Deitch's campaign in each of the past 2 years. At press time, Reed's family had contributed more than $5,000, and her legal team is at least $9,000. Asked how he can appreciate the support of someone who, on the recording, describes what he insists never happened, he said, "I don't know what she meant. when she said that. Now, it's interesting. Again, Gretchen Voss is acting like, oh my God, they donated so much money. They probably would have donated more. The thing is I think you can only donate $1,000 per household to a campaign. I think that's how it works. Not sure how it works, but yeah. Happy to be me. Thank you so much. Where is Gretchen's proof of these statements? I don't see any receipts. Right. Like a Turtle Boy article has receipts attached to the article. Two of Reed's cell phones were seized by the state authorities in January 2024 as part of an investigation into witness intimidation connected to Carney. The phones remain in the custody of the Norfolk DA's office while the Commonwealth appeals a March 2026 order to return them to her. On another leaked recording of a call with Carney, Reed said, "Do you have any clue what's on my phones that they took?" She did not specify. If Deitch wins the election, Reed's cell phones will be under his authority. Carney, facing charges of felony witness intimidation, made his own view of Deitch explicit. In a live stream in November, just days after Deitch announced his campaign, Carney said, "I have no doubt if he was elected district attorney, I think my problems would go away. I would hope so." Well, right, because if there's an ethical district attorney in office, then you could probably count on the idea that that ethical district attorney would do something ethical and throw out a case that is a violation of someone's First Amendment rights. Duh. I put Reed's statements on the record on the recording to Deitch. I'm not going to comment on specific allegations or cases without seeing the evidence. He told me, saying that he has never communicated with or met Carney. If I have a conflict of interest in a particular case, I will not be involved in the decision-making of that case. And though he says the Norfolk County DA's office has been rife with conflict, he declined to comment on any of his own. For instance, the chairman of the campaign committee, Michael Loans, is married to fellow assistant U.S. attorney Ann Peruti, who has co-prosecuted cases with Deitch and whom Deitch says is a close friend. Peruti, who is the prosecutor of the federal grand juror who leaked confidential information in the Reed case, she requested a lighter sentence than the judge ultimately issued. Though Deitch declined to discuss it, talk of an apparent connection and conflict of interest has been circulating online. Peruti and Reed went to high school together and were both in the Spanish Honor Society, according to a yearbook photo, and were recently, until it was revealed on a social media, Pinterest friends. Indeed, Reed reportedly went to the wedding of Ann's sister, Tricia, who was also the Spanish Honor Society, was in the Spanish Honor Society with them. When asked whether he would reopen the investigation into O'Keefe's death, as he has alluded to on the campaign trail, Deitch said, "I believe the O'Keefe family has been fed a one-sided set of facts." Although he speaks about the O'Keefes often when campaigning, he first contacted the family, according to Paul O'Keefe, only after Paul emailed him with several reporters CC'd, including this one. Does that mean he believes the family is wrong, that Reed is responsible for O'Keefe's death? If you look at the evidence that has been made public, he said carefully, "What's clear to me is that the charges did not match the evidence." Right. Deitch highlights his work leading the federal investigation in his campaign, but says he cannot discuss its details. The investigation closed in early 2025 without charges. What it produced publicly was the text messages found on the personal cell phone of Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor, the lead investigator in the O'Keefe case. Messages so racist and misogynistic, they led to Proctor's dismissal and later the revocation of his law enforcement certification. Deitch has appeared on the YouTube program of Emily C. Oh shit, Emily C. has entered the chat, folks. You got to give it to her. Yes. Deitch has appeared on the YouTube program of Emily C., a free Karen Reed podcaster whose past segments have included mockery of John O'Keefe's mother and of the children of the witnesses. Deitch told me he was open to appearing on the podcast across the political spectrum to reach the widest possible evidence. The widest possible evidence, excuse me. A few weeks after our interview, Deitch declined an invitation to appear on a show called The Forensic Room, hosted by supporters of the witnesses and the O'Keefe family, including the Glaerer's wife, Julie Carpenter. Instead, Reed and her father, Bill, attended the grand opening of Deitch's new Quincy campaign headquarters. His campaign to run for the office, Morrissey says, certainly provides plausible motive for misconduct in the investigation he led as an assistant United States attorney. 5 minutes down the road from the Norfolk County DA's office, more than 400 supporters of the witnesses in John O'Keefe's murder investigation gathered on a March evening to raise money to defend themselves against Reed's lawsuit. Long tables flanking the ballroom were loaded with merch for sale. There was a silent auction featuring donated Red Sox tickets and Loon Mountain getaways. Designer upholstered throw pillows starting at a value of more than $600 had been donated by Natalie the German, the former Reed Carney intermediary who flew in from California to show her support that night. Amazing. This is fantastic. Inside the crowd, which had grown too large for the dozens of round tables draped in white cloth, rose for a standing ovation for Peg O'Keefe, who was there with her son Paul to support the witnesses. Brian Albert, too, was met with thunderous applause as he took the microphone. The three-pronged attack was executed with military precision. It consisted of a vicious and unscrupulous defense team, an army of social media lunatics, and a highly unusual and unprecedented federal investigation, all coalescing, in my opinion, from the common goal of influencing the outcome of this case, he said. The system, he said, failed them at every turn. They allowed us to be lambs for the slaughter. It's the worst thing I've ever experienced, and that's saying a lot, because I've seen a lot. I've seen the worst humanity has to offer. I bet you have. The money they raised that evening would go to defend against Reed's civil lawsuit against them and go to fund a lawsuit of their own. 1 month after the event, on April 16th, Chris Matei, the lawyer of the Sandy Hook families, who won a $1.4 billion defamation award against Alex Jones for claiming the shooting was a hoax, filed a lawsuit on behalf of Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert, Colin Albert, and Brian Higgins against Reed and Carney for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and civil conspiracy, among other counts. This case arises from a multi-year conspiracy orchestrated by Karen Reed and Aidan Carney to subvert and prejudice the criminal justice process in Norfolk County, Massachusetts. Unbelievable. The complaint states, Reed knowingly destroyed the reputations and lives of innocent people to deflect attention away from her own culpability, it alleges. And Carney received his information exclusively from Reed and her legal team, made no independent journalistic effort to verify the accuracy of the murder accusations before publishing them, repeatedly ignored or dismissed evidence contradicting his narrative. That's actually the opposite of what he did. Matei says that the lawsuit, put it best, The operation to assassinate the character of innocent witnesses has caused incalculable harm, subjecting them to a daily tidal wave of hatred, harassment, and intimidation, he says. While the damage to them has been catastrophic, Reed's and Carney's lies, which were amplified by a vigorous public relations campaign, have also poisoned the community's cohesion, tainted the criminal prosecution of Reed, and deprived the O'Keefe family and the Commonwealth of the justice they deserve. Then why is it that the Commonwealth, if the Commonwealth is the people, then why is it that the Commonwealth was gathered outside of the courtroom wearing pink and cheering when she was acquitted? Explain that, Gretchen Voss, H.Hooker. Hooker. On his live stream since the lawsuit was filed, Carney has called Matei retarded and said Matei would be his play toy for the next few years. He said he would destroy Matei's reputation. Now's when we double down, motherfucker, he said. I have an army of people behind me. And don't forget to hashtag Matei is gay. The witnesses had stayed mostly quiet through the investigation, both trials and years of harassment. At the fundraiser that night, McCabe stood before the crowd of 400 and spoke. We trusted the process. We trusted the system. We believed if we told the truth and endured, that would be enough, she said. We were quiet and quiet was right. This time, we're not whispering. Except you Googled how long to die in the cold at 2:27 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. Update. And here are the, they got to update. They got to fact check here. The story has been updated to accurately reflect that Aidan Carney's phone extraction became public via his now former girlfriend. The story has been updated to remove any ambiguity about the context of a message from defense attorney David Yannetti to Carney. When Yannetti wrote, "These bastards deserve all the scorn we are giving them," he was referring to the Massachusetts State Police. A version of this story appears in the August 2026 print issue of Boston, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, nobody cares. Shut the fuck up. Gretchen Voss, you are a horrible, horrible, horrible person. We hope that you get a outbreak of a rash that you contracted from your days of being an aged out hooker. No, not that. You get this. Boo! Boo!
You suck.
Boo, Gretchen Voss. You suck. Then, of course, there is also the fact that then, of course, there is also Aidan Carney's charges. Now, Aidan Carney's charges were brought on. I accidentally exited. I had this pulled up, man. God damn it. Hold on. No, I don't have the charging documents per se, but I do have a little refresher course here. Now, before we get into that, though, the Cerebral Ninja has been having some fun. And people have been reposting. It's very funny. Hold on a second. So, David Yannetti wrote, "Hey, Linda Pizzuti," I guess she's somebody for Boston Magazine, says, "Do you have any editors these days? at Boston Magazine, have they all taken the summer off? While I will anxiously await the correction. Now let's I mean, we got to share this. This is just very funny. While I anxiously await the correction you must publish to the shoddy reporting of Gretchen Voss, please tell John Henry that our beloved Red Sox could use a couple of bats at the trade deadline. Thanks. And that is a retweet here. It's bad enough that you're getting community noted, but getting community noted on a Boston Defender fact, woof, that's brutal, Vossi. Just brutal. And that's where David Yannetti reposted that with that little tidbit, with that little nugget, which was absolutely beautiful. Yeah, he totally did. He totally did. It's fucking beautiful. That's why we saw the corrections. That's why we saw the corrections in the article. Now, it gets better. Then he hits a little harder. It gets pretty funny. And he says, LOL. I typically refrain from dunking on opponents, but the X trending now section is just too delicious not to pass along. Sorry to all the haters. I know this is going to ruin your Friday night. And right here, this is his victory lap showing that Boston Magazine had to fucking make corrections. Karen Reed attorney secures quick corrections to Boston Magazine article. Boston Magazine article claims harassment campaign helped free Karen Reed. And then Trump picks Jordan over LeBron. But that's because, Trump and Jordan are buddies. And LeBron hates Trump, which is actually why he said that. So I love that. He says, I typically refrain from dunking on opponents. And then he replies to Aiden here. Because Aiden says, this is yet another example, easily verifiable lie from Gretchen Voss. I was not the first to report on the defense's alternative theory. The Boston Globe and every other mainstream media outlet reported it when it was filed April 12, 2023. My story was published April 18th. So lawyers say new evidence. So yes, mainstream media actually reported it first. Who the fuck is that? Jesus Christ. So So this unfiltered thoughts person, it's a response to them saying Carney was the first to report this alternative theory, is also highly misleading. The statement makes it seem like Dr. Turtleboy pulled this theory out of his ass. It did not. And it also implies that it was fed to him. So Yannetti says asking for her sources would indeed be a good idea, but I'm thinking he should probably start by asking for her resume again. Talking about the aged out hooker, Gretchen Voss. Asking for her sources would indeed be a good idea, but I'm thinking he should probably start asking for a resume again. Call it a hunch, but I suspect we may have another Shannon with one N. Tip of the cap to Bob Alessi, Burgess on our hands here. Did she actually graduate from journalism school? And does Boston Magazine actually vet their reporters before hiring them. Holy the Cerebral Ninja on fire. Gee.
What could be more egregious? What could be more misleading than that? And what could be more important?
What could be more important, Boston Magazine? Get your shit together. For fuck's sake. What are you doing? Anyway, so that's that. Now let's check out now recently, as of yesterday, as a matter of fact. Hold on, let me search for this. Hold on. Because I know I reposted it. Sorry, give me 1 second here, folks. Yeah, so shit, where is it now? Yeah, I'll just have to do this the old-fashioned way. What the fuck? Why can't I find this? Okay, here we go. So here it says for immediate release. Yesterday, this is from the mighty one, Mark Betterow. Yesterday, we were notified about an Atlantic County, New Jersey indictment of Aidan Carney, Dr. Turtleboy. Although his indictment remained sealed, within hours, its existence was improperly leaked to third parties. Improperly leaked to third parties. Okay? Very important. This prosecution stems from the civilian complaint of a New Jersey resident who intentionally contacted Mr. Carney, hoping that he would publicize her long-term humiliation of a Massachusetts citizen who was the brother of John O'Keefe, the victim in a high-profile Massachusetts prosecution of Karen Reed. The complainant contacted Mr. Carney to generate online attention, hoping this would grant her access to people close to the Reed case. Mr. Carney has never met this woman, and he has not stepped foot in New Jersey in years. The Atlantic County prosecutor's decision to present this matter to a grand jury is both disappointing and virtually unprecedented. It is clear that the prosecutor has serious doubts about the merits of the case and the credibility of the evidence. The indictment follows the complainant's voluntary withdrawal of a civil proceeding she brought against Mr. Carney. She chose to terminate that proceeding rather than be subjected to cross-examination after a respected Superior Court judge entered critical rulings in favor of Mr. Carney's right to free speech. After the civil matter concluded in Mr. Carney's favor, the prosecutor sat on this civilian complaint for 7 months. Okay? This is important stuff to realize going in. Right? On July 7th, 2026, the assigned prosecutor advised us that she had determined this matter would not be presented to a grand jury, and the decision was not forthcoming about whether the civilian complaint would be dismissed or remanded to the municipal court. Within minutes of this update, the assigned prosecutor reversed course, now informing us that she had been directed to immediately present the matter to the grand jury. She then declined our request to meet with Atlantic County Prosecutor William Reynolds. She further declined our request that Mr. Carney be afforded the opportunity to testify as a witness before the grand jury. No citizen should be indicted for speaking freely and expressing his or her opinion about matters of public concern. A grand jury is entirely controlled by a prosecutor. It is a one-sided presentation with a low burden of proof. We are confident that when all of the facts and circumstances surrounding Mr. Carney's indictment are revealed, it will be apparent to any reasonable person that his speech, which serves as the basis of this indictment, is protected by the First Amendment and New Jersey law, and that he has not violated New Jersey's cyber harassment statute. Always eloquently put by the mighty. Now, knowing that, let's learn a little bit about our complainant here. Let's learn a little bit about our friend. Dude, like, I know I'm like, I don't, hold on. Let me do this real quick. I got to sign in because it's, how do I sign in? Oh, here we go. Dude, I already did that. All right, whatever. Fuck it. I'm just going to deal with the ads. In February, okay, so Aiden writes, in February, I published a story. This is from October 8th, 2025. Says here, in February, I published a story about, oh my God, about how Paul O'Keefe was using his brother's murder trial as a way to send hand signals to his online girlfriend, who he told he had testified while under the influence of alcohol during the first trial. And there's these text messages. We've all seen the text messages. I don't care that Paul O'Keefe was cheating on his wife. None of my business. It was the fact that he was taking advantage of his brother's televised murder trial to signal to his online mistress. The fact that he says he may have been drunk when he testified, and the fact that he conspired with Lindsay Gattani to have my bail revoked at a previous hearing, that really offended me. I wasn't sure what to make of the woman who initially reached out to me about this. She lives in New Jersey, and I didn't know what her intentions were. She had reached out to Paul O'Keefe and begun an online relationship with him, but for what purpose? At first, she led me to believe that she reached out to him because she felt bad for him, only to find out that she was using his brother's murder to pick up chicks. And although that may be partially true, she may be even worse than he is. Now, my bad. Sorry about that. Let's show this. Let's show this little gem here. So, she's real pretty. Like, I get it, Paul. You know, I get it. But I mean, now, it goes on to say here, though, don't be fooled by the filter like Paul O'Keefe was. She looks nothing like that in real life. Here she is with her attorney husband, Robert Stacchini. Okay. Yeah, that's very different. Dang, Paul. Paul got catfished, folks. I think it's pretty safe to say. That's a bummer, my friend. Yikes. Oh, she looks better there. You know, that's nice. But, okay. Poor Rob likely has no idea what the alleged licensed clinical psychologist, mother of his two children, has been up to. Probably doesn't. And here are the screenshots here. Wow. Hey, Daddy, I have some things I want to share with you, but I am worried about now, folks, I can absolutely tell you that these are very, very real. I saw these pretty early on before Aiden published the story. They came up in a conversation on one of my visits to Boston when this was just developing. So I can tell you that this person, yeah, this is all very real. And she absolutely contacted Aiden. She reached out to him. He did not reach out to her. She reached out to him. Look at this shit. Hey, Daddy, I have some things I want to share with you, but I'm worried about my identity being shared. I have been in touch with Paul O'Keefe a lot. Oh, and I'm a Lexus owner. Same exact car as Karen. Mine is white. Jesus Christ, lady. And he says, hey, I'm all ears. So, of course, she's telling him what's going on here, and he's like, dick pics? And she's like, no, shirtless. But he told me about his dick. But told me about his dick. Fuck. I should not be telling you this. You know what I love about this screenshot right here? Is it wasn't even like Aiden didn't wait. Like, you see what's going on here? Like, she's like, no, shirtless, but he told me about his dick. And as soon as Aiden sees this shit, he's like, fucking screenshot, boom. Because she's typing. He's like, fuck, I shouldn't be telling you this. He's like, screenshot, boom. And then he's like, he is very chatty today. He wants me to fly there, and he will pick me up at the airport. And I'm out now, heading home soon. Where you at, bud? I wish. Why is it so far? Last time I went, flew. Blah 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 blah. What is he talking about? Okay. Oh, okay. So that's him saying, I'm heading out now, heading home soon. She says, where you at, bud? He says, I wish. Why is it so far? Last time I went I flew. But then I wouldn't have a car and I rent to deal with that. I'll pick you up. Imagine if if you were spotted with me. I'm your cousin, Tennessee Cousins. Tennessee Cousins, isn't that like kissing cousins? So he is definitely trying to hook up. That's Aiden, I guess, trying to confirm what's being said here. Oh my God, dude. Seriously? Really? Really? Her husband's not. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine, and I think that's why she's mad and why she's trying to file charges against Aiden. Because she's filing charges against Aiden, Bob, because he wrote this article. Like, this is all he's doing. She reached out to him. In Lemonade, thank you so much. Cop's daughter needs prayer. Please send. Member for 7 months. Will do. Thank you so much. And Terry Oliver, thank you so much. I appreciate it. For the Venmo. First live I've caught in a while. Miss you, love you, love you too. I just realized that I said her last name, so I don't want to say who their screen name is. Clever, knock it off. I'm almost done. We got a long day. Long day. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Now, yeah, this is that part where she's like, okay, so here, oh, I skipped a lot. Yeah, I skipped a lot here. Okay, so here we go. I don't. From reach out to him on here, and he responded, then thanks for my number. Yeah, I got Laura like messaging me from on Instagram asking me if I want like a login. I have one. I just don't know how to fucking do it. But it's whatever, the ads or whatever. But the ads are making it look like a Grant Smith Ellis stream. God damn. I don't. Let's see. How do you know Paul? I don't. From TV. I reached out to him on here. So she reached out to him and he responded, then asked for my number. Then she deleted a message, which is why Aiden takes screenshots. If you want to verify me, ask me something about him and I'll find out the answer. I obviously have screenshots. Oh, wow. So you saw him on the trial, reached out, and then he asked for your number? Was he hitting on you? And he goes on to say, she said that she was pretending to go along with his delusions in order to keep him on her good side. And I have him on my very, very good side. He cannot find out I'm talking or else he will stop talking. Okay, he won't. The delusion is nuts. And I have to pretend I agree with it because he is one angry motherfucker. I am just super worried about sharing details. He will know it's from me because he's told me stuff no one else knows. Aiden says, okay, so can you tell me or no? And then she says, I can. I just have to think of how to word it. I think he knows they are screwed. That doesn't surprise me. See, like she's deleting messages. So this is why he's taking screenshots. It's like, come on. I just don't get why he's talking to you at all unless he's trying to hook up. But I have to appease him or he goes nuts. So Aiden says, I just don't get why he's talking to you at all unless he's trying to hook up. And she says, but I have to appease him or he goes nuts. Does that answer your question? I know all about his wife and him and what's going on. He spilled it all. He still sticks to the story that he is very close to his parents and his mother doesn't drink. Last night, last night on the phone, I could hear him chugging drinks. And his dad had hip surgery and his toes go numb, so he can't go. Lindsay was all over the place with her messages and never shut up. This is Aiden telling the story here. So Aiden says Lindsay was all over the place with her messages and never shut up. She was having what appeared to be a semi-serious relationship with him, where they would talk every night, get mad at each other, and tell each other their deepest, darkest secrets. She would always tell me she shouldn't be telling me these things, yet she knew exactly who I was and what I do, which is the reason she sought me out. She clearly wanted this story told, and she enjoyed being in the middle of it, so long as she remained anonymous. Obviously, I intended on writing a story about this, which she knew I was eventually going to do. However, she told me she wanted to keep it going for a bit longer and get more information out of him. In the meantime, she messaged me and all the time complained to me about how mean Paul was to her. Fascinating. It was like she thought they were in a real relationship, but she was betraying him to me. Meanwhile, both of them were married to other people. She could tell me what the signals were that Paul would send her when he was on TV and in court, and would discuss afterwards. She would message me during live shows and tell me how much she loved when I would talk to Paul. You ready? I sent it. The message from him. Check your DMs. Call Paul out tonight. Just say, Paul, you may... See, she wants to be in control of this whole fucking situation. So, here she is. This is unbelievable. So, this person... Yeah, that's interesting because her husband's an attorney, right? Her husband's an attorney, Bob. So... which I'm sure you already know. Because look at this. There's no way that any prosecutor knowing this information would actually move forward with this investigation or with this prosecution, especially in another state. That makes no sense. Oh, okay. I was like, what? I love Flipperhead, man. That motherfucker makes me laugh. So check your DMs, blah, blah, blah. Like it's so funny because here she is acting like Aiden is this evil person who attacked her. Like she's actually wanting to be in control of, it's almost as if she wants to be famous. It's almost as if she wants to be credited for leaking this information. Because she seems to want absolute control over how Aiden distributes this information. Call Paul out tonight. Just say, Paul, you may want to think about. She even wants to write Aiden's script, by the way. Paul, you may want to think about who you've pissed off. I've got a lot of receipts and someone even willing to come on the show. Think about who you... Look at this. This is a whole goddamn script. Think about who you reared like a douche. That's what he calls me nonstop after I told him. It's so rude. If he messages me, I'll send it to you and you can blow it up. If he says what he's talking about, did you tell him? I'll send it to you. I know he is stalking my Facebook. I feel like putting turtle time as my status. He would fucking have me murdered. But I'm willing to show my part. I have to think. But am I willing to show my part? I have to think about it. I had played along to get answers I wanted. You jackass, you said you didn't even see him do it. I definitely did. He's so bad at it though. LOL. Did he do it or never noticed? Maybe he didn't. Definitely sore. I saw. I have to go back. Shut up. Pretend you think he is giving you the finger. He's going to fucking know it's me. I noticed him doing it. I told you. Yeah, because they're supposed to have like a finger signal or something like that. Look at all this bullshit. He did it. He says, but he will told you, say he thought he was giving the finger, or usually he's wiping his nose. Maybe he does Adderall. LOL. Just did it again. He did. So I guess they're watching the trial in real time, and she's texting with him in real time during the trial. And she's like, shut up. Keep it with the bartender. Drunk in court. I love when you talk to him like he is listening. I want to write about it today. I'm not ready to share it because I have to talk. Because I have been talking to him again, or have him talk. I want to have him talking again, or I have him talking again. What do you mean? He's opening up again about the trial when he thinks I'm hinting about drinking. Right now, I have to take my son to the orthodontist. I'll message you. He says, I think we have enough. Okay. If he starts acting like a dick, you can have him hit, but not ready. Please don't. I don't know what you mean by not ready. Call me when you're free. I just don't want to do it yet. Wanted to wait closer till trial. I'll call you later. So like she's just trying to like really fuck him up. And Aiden is just like, this is just a story to write, dude. Shut the fuck up. So Aiden continues to write here. After a while, it just felt like she wanted to gossip to me about it. Like she had an online groupie, like she's an online groupie who made it in life by inserting herself into the middle of this high-profile murder. She even wanted me to ask Karen Reed if she could sit with Karen's family in court. I never did, obviously. I really wanted to write the story, but she promised me she could get more out of him. This went on for a few weeks before I realized she just wanted to talk to me all the time about her relationship with Paul and how mad she was at him all the time. Eventually, I told her I was just going to write the story unless she had new scoops. So I'm not sure what your plan is, but I have plenty to write the story, so I'm just going to. And then she's like, and do what with it? I think I should see it before. That's not how that works, bro. I mean, I look like some whore. I have no idea what you're even writing. I really wish you would wait. Write a story about it. Aiden goes, well, write a story about it. If I thought there was any chance you could get more out of them, then I would wait. But we've been doing this for a couple of weeks, and it's just the same nonsense every day. Have you asked him those questions I asked you to ask him? I told you a few times what I plan on writing this about. He responds the best when I ignore him and make him chase me. That's when I get all of the info. So Aiden continues to write, she played the victim by telling me how much Paul was going to rightfully hate her when he found out that she had been messing with him for 2 months and the sole purpose of exploiting their fake online relationship in the hopes that it could score her front row seats with the Reed family in court. And she goes on to text Aiden, as far as he goes, it doesn't matter. He's obviously going to know I was fucking with him the whole time, and he's going to torture me and make my life a living hell and absolutely hate me because I have empathy and I don't like to watch people suffer. And a lot of the stuff he told me is about very personal parts of his life and childhood that I would not share something like that. And then Aiden says, I don't care about any of that stuff. You know the questions I asked you to ask him. If you're not going to do that, then I don't see the point of waiting. And then she says, I'm asking you for 24 hours to get the answers. He says, okay, 24 hours, whatever, fine. He thinks I was in Boston last weekend and never called him. I really wish I could somehow make blah, blah, blah. So I could somehow make him think that I met you and that this kind of accidentally came out so I don't look like a total fucking douchebag. Too late. He's going to hate you no matter what. So you're going to have to end this eventually and never talk to him again. Are you actually in love with him? Ew. God, fuck's sake. You said you couldn't stand him. So then why do you give a shit? I just feel bad because I lied to him, manipulating him to trust me. Well, you did. Thanks. Like, I mean, what do you want this motherfucker to tell you? What do you want? What do you want this guy, who you're such a fucking fan of, how do you want him to respond to you with this bullshit? I fucking always trip out with people like this. People who act like they're such big fans and such big supporters, and then they act like they talk to you as if they've never listened to a fucking episode of your fucking shit. Ever. Like they've never listened to one fucking live stream. They have no fucking understanding of what you're about at all. It's fucking hilarious. So here comes this person now who put this whole thing together. She reached out to Aiden. She reached out to him. She tells him, "Oh, look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. And I'm undercover and I'm fucking with Paul O'Keefe." Okay? All right, well, send me something that's worth writing a story about. But she just wanted to gossip with Aiden. So Aiden goes on to write here in the article, for some reason she wanted me to go on her Facebook page and leave a comment so that Paul would see it and get mad at her. And then she wouldn't feel so bad about betraying him. I agreed to do it, to shut her up, because I was writing the story the next day. Lindsay told me that what she did to Paul was nice and brought entertainment to me, so I should hold off. She even told me that I was using her while she was actively using Paul by reaching out to me in the first place. And then there's the receipts for that. I mean, look at this shit. Like, so Aiden's letting her know, I friend requested it, but I'm definitely writing it tomorrow. Like, at this point, he doesn't give a fuck about her little sob story about how she's going to look. And she's saying, don't threaten to put it out there if I haven't approved it, please. I think what I did was nice and brought entertainment. And you're rushing me with it. I have other stuff to do. He's not rushing her with anything. He's just saying, I'm going to do this. He doesn't even need her approval. He doesn't even, there's nothing even obligating him on a moral level to let her know when he's going to print this story. He could have just printed it that same fucking day. It's up to Aiden to decide what is newsworthy and what isn't. What is the subject matter that he's going to print or talk about? It's up to him to decide the nature of the narrative of the story that he's going to print. He could have done that with just one text message that she sent him, if he damn well pleased. So it's really funny here. She's like, I'm coming to you with the story, so now I'm in full control over how it gets written, when it gets put out, how it looks. No, that's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. And then here she comes in with the threats here. Let's see. She says, I have other stuff too, but now I don't want to come out with it because I do things. I don't know what that means. If I find out that you just start blabbing everything I told you, which I never even sent you half of it, I will be mad and have something to say. I should be able to know exactly how this is going down. I feel a bit used. He said, what other stuff do you have? We spoke for over 8 hours on the phone. I could easily sit and tell you things he said. My credibility is very good. I'm a psychologist. You could do a search on me, but you won't. But you want to write the stuff about him being drunk in court. He hates Yannetti. Yeah, don't forget. And I might have skipped over that part. But apparently Paul, in one text message, said that he was drunk when he testified in the first trial. We spoke for over 8 hours on. Oh, she already said that shit. Hates Jackson, blah, blah, blah. Things he said on the phone are not useful because it's hearsay. I need screenshots of messages. If you have anything he said in writing, please send it so I can include it. She says, oh, that makes sense. Who will see these screenshots? Just your page? My page? I'm writing a story on it. I'm going to go through the only text stream I have left. I erased the early ones. I thought I would have more time to get him to speak. He went in a 30-minute rant about McCabe and made her out to be the blessed mother. But that was on the phone. I could get him to put in writing, but you want it as it. Okay. Okay, send those screenshots then. I don't have them. They were on. I don't have them. They were on the phone. You'd have to let me bring her up. Which at this point, I'll just say I'm coming to Boston in a few weeks. Where do they hang out? Okay, are you going to do that? It's been a few weeks now. I may want to meet them. Aiden, you said you were using this before trial. It's February. I needed the extra month. You're acting like Auntie Bev. What? Taking your ball and going home, and that wasn't an outburst. Then that was, I don't know what this is. You want to know what about the juror? He said watch some of it. He said Jackson caught red-handed lying, blah, blah, blah. He said, I want you to ask the questions I sent you. I worded them specifically for a reason. I have them. I feel like telling him I spoke to you. You're a jerk. I don't like you very much. Okay. Is everything from Boston like this? You're acting like I'm getting paid. If you don't want to do it, then that's fine. You offered to. I do. I just wish you could be a little bit more calm. Bro, at this point, if I'm Aiden, I'm getting annoyed. At this point, if I'm Aiden, I'm beyond annoyed already. Like, this fucking woman is playing games. He's like, you're not being paid. You reached out to me with this information a few weeks ago. You knew I was going to write about it, or else you wouldn't reach out. She says, I want him to stop getting drunk playing with firewood and gasoline with his kid in the house. Dude, you're not listening. Like, and she's like, I thought you would be a little nicer. He's like, I am being nice, which he is. I agree. I'd have been like, fuck off. You're a fucking retard and a psycho. Go fuck yourself. I would have already done that. I love your shows and watch all of blah, blah, blah. By the way, who is that ugly lady that was in her car yelling that you only got 2 journalists? Like, she's just trying to be his buddy. He's like, Jill Daniels, because who knew? He was like, bitch, who acts like a... Like, yeah, like, he doesn't give a shit about trying to carry on a conversation with this woman. He's just like, just fucking ask him the questions I asked you to fucking ask him, and then send me the fucking results. Otherwise, leave me the fuck alone. All right, thank you, Kirks. I'll get to that in a second. I can't see the chat very well unless I glance over it. But Kirks yells at everybody in chat, so it's kind of hard to spot the spamming. I saw the video of you interviewing Tristan the other day. I don't even... let's see. So Aiden continues to write, she clearly just enjoyed the fact that she got to chat with Turtle Boy and Paul O'Keefe. And she never shut up. Meanwhile, I just wanted her to see if he would put anything in writing about the McAlberts or his thoughts about Karen Reed. I didn't really need her to do anything else, though, because I had plenty to work with. Lindsay would always brag to me about how her dad was a judge and her husband was a lawyer. So nobody could fuck with her. She would even message me in between Botox and plastic surgery appointments. Oh my God. I'm asking this today. I'm just coming, dude, this goes on and on and on and on and on. Like, this goes on and on and on. Look at all this. And we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. We haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. All right. So I'll go to this and come back. Hold on. All right. So let's read David Yanetti's latest tweet here. And we might come back. We might, because I want to read the rest of that stuff. I want to revisit that stuff. Because everybody is hitching on it. I love it. All of Turtle Boy's haters are like, new charges. Woo! New charges. And like fucking BLT and Kryford are sucking each other's dicks over it. Like, it's the weirdest fucking shit in the world. So hold on. Let me pull this up. All right, so the Cerebral Ninja tweeted a primer on unethical reporting and the priorities of certain media. And I'm going to close with this because you know this is going to be extremely eloquent. It's going to be a fucking banger because this dude is awesome. And he's going to lay it out. Every publication prides itself on thorough, accurate, and ethical reporting. A lot of work and a system of checks and balances is supposed to be put into place to hopefully ensure that a publisher will never have to issue a correction. If someone takes issue with an article, but the publisher has an out because there was some ambiguity, a publisher will take that out and do anything to avoid having to publish a correction, which is basically what I was saying earlier. Like, it's so embarrassing, people, for a publication to have to issue 2 corrections promptly, quickly. 2 corrections. Aiden was like, excuse me, that's wrong. And then David Yannetti was like, excuse me, that's wrong. And now, here we are, right? Issuing a correction is a black eye to the reporter, certainly. It signals to future editors that she cannot be trusted. But it is also embarrassing to the editors and the publisher who are forced to admit that they failed at their jobs as well, meaning the Boston Magazine. So now we come to Gretchen Voss's agenda, driven hit piece in Boston Magazine. People ask why someone would not grant an interview to a reporter like her. You don't grant someone like that an interview because you would be giving an untrustworthy person control over your words. She's not seeking the truth. She's advancing her own narrative. Irrespective of and often contrary to the truth. And given her lack of ethics, she will take a quote from you and publish it out of context to make it appear as though you said something that you did not, to try and make you look bad to advance her agenda. As an aside, those dangers are exactly why a criminal defense attorney will advise a client never to speak to the police. I chose not to speak with Gretchen Voss because I knew her to be untrustworthy. And sure enough, she was so blinded by her own bias that she took an old quote of mine out of context and made it appear as though I said something that I didn't. In the process, of course, she unwittingly proved that her intentions would have been had I agreed to speak with her in the first place. What her intentions would have been had I agreed to speak with her in the first place. And by doing so, she put her magazine in legal jeopardy. Shame on her. Yeah, dude. Think about that. You put your whole magazine, you aged out hooker. You put your whole magazine in jeopardy, in legal.
Ooh, you suck.
Legal jeopardy. Gretchen Voss, you are awful. You are an aged out hooker. You do not belong writing stories and publishing them. Definitely don't belong quoting people. In the process, of course, she unwittingly proved that what her intentions would have been had I agreed to speak with her in the first place. And by doing so, she put her magazine in legal jeopardy. Shame on her. You can bet that when Boston Magazine received my demand for a correction, they panicked. They consulted with their legal department, who advised them that there was no out. They recognized that it was one of the strongest defamation claims that could exist because Gretchen Voss acted with actual malice and there was zero defense to what she did. They were loath to do it, but they had no choice. They issued the correction and hoped that would put the issue to bed. I'm told, however, that the print edition still exists. I haven't decided yet whether to take any further action regarding that clear defamation. In addition, there are many other inaccuracies in her article, although I will likely leave it to others to demand those corrections. For now, it is just satisfying once again to have exposed corruption. David Yannetti, the Cerebral Ninja, does it again, folks. All right, now what I'm going to do here is this brings me to another correction. Let me repost that bad boy. And I'm sorry for my reading skills today. They're worse than usual. They're usually pretty bad, but I don't know why my vision is going little by little. So let me address one more thing here, since we had her in the chat as well, because somebody else who had a little bit of a gripe. But I don't remember who posted it, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it. I think I bookmarked it, though. Well, yeah, here we go. Got it. Here we go. Good. So here's Emily C's response to the accusation that Gretchen Voss hurled at Emily C, claiming that she attacked Peggy O'Keefe on her show.
Okay.
Nice to see.
This is what the Gretchen Voss quote said. Back to this. So Gretchen Voss was talking about Adam Deitch and said something that the people who don't like me on Twitter say about me and my interview with Adam Deitch a lot, which was, quote, Adam Deitch has appeared on the YouTube program of Emily C., a free Karen Reed podcaster whose past segments have included mockery of John O'Keefe's mother and of the children of witnesses. Now, I need to break this down for a second. When they say mockery of John O'Keefe's mother, they are talking about a 10-second part of a 1-minute clip where I made a parody of Hank Brennan's closing arguments, and I was not making fun of Peggy O'Keefe. I was making fun of Hank. There was a moment at the very beginning of Hank Brennan's closing.
Now, Emily gets really, really mad here. She does a pretty good job of keeping it together. But she does get extremely angry here, and I can feel it, and I feel really bad for her because I don't think that Emily C is the type of person who appreciates when people make her angry. None of us really do, but some of us don't mind showing our angry side from time to time. I think it's something that probably bothers Emily more than most people. And I think that, so it makes me feel bad for her that she felt this angry.
Statements where he looks back at Peg O'Keefe and he like gave her a nod, and it was like he had this, and I tweeted out before I made my parody that I said, oh, lights, camera, showtime. And that was what the vibe that I was going for was. So in the video, I said, Psst, Peg, don't forget to cry because whoopsies, you thought he was 45. Which was a nod to a moment that happened in the trial where I was not making fun of Peg O'Keefe, but she did forget how old John was by 1 year. She has a lot on her mind. She was going through a lot. If I was making fun of her, trust me, I know how to make fun of people. If I was making fun of her, you would fucking know it. Okay.
There you go. Emily C. And thank you so much, Gerda K, for gifting. All right, folks, I think that's going to be it for me. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Saturday morning. I know I'm never going to be as entertaining as those cartoons that you guys are remembering from your childhood. But anyways, we are going petty. I don't know if I'll go petty today, but we are going petty. Maybe we'll do a late night petty after following Aiden's stream tonight. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you guys know in advance. But there's lots of petty to be had. But anyways, guys, you guys are absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for all of the support. You guys are unbelievably amazing. Seriously, you guys are so supportive, man. And I can't ever express like in words how grateful I am to you guys. And remember, it only takes a second to stay safe. Defense Diaries is starting in 30 minutes. Head over there. Let them know it's a Clara raid. And being retarded never stopped anybody from being a good neighbor unless you're a McAlbert. Guys, I love you very much. We will do this again very soon, my friends.
Watch out! Ah!
Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people go to work or school, just like their neighbors, and come back to a real home. A supervised home, right in the neighborhood, where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor.